I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Today, the Democrat-led House committee investigating last year's Capitol riot will focus on then-President Trump's effort to get state officials to help him overturn 2020 results.
To send alternate slates of electors to Washington. Trump confidant John Eastman engineered a scheme which hinged on Vice President Pence rejecting slates of electoral ballots as he presided over certification of the Electoral College on January 6th. But Pence's counsel testified that Eastman apparently wanted two sets of rules.
Fox's Chad Pergram, the former president, calls it a witch hunt and fraud, still insisting the election was rigged. And more candidates he backs are on the ballot today. The polls are opening in Georgia, where there are runoff elections. Alabama has runoffs, too. It's primary day in Virginia with key races for Congress.
In District 2, Democrat incumbent Elaine Luria is running unopposed, but redistricting in this military-heavy district makes her seat very vulnerable come November when she'll face one of 4 GOP challengers. District 7 Democrat Abigail Spanberger is in a similar primary pickle, running unopposed today, but will face one of 6 Republicans in November.
Fox's Brooks Singman, 2 Americans who went to Ukraine and got captured, could face the death penalty. That's what a Russian spokesman tells NBC. And there are reports the State Department's confirmed a second American's died fighting in Ukraine. His family says he died in combat in May.
Meanwhile, the intense fighting continues in the east as the city of Severodonetsk remains a focal point. A Ukrainian defense official says Russia is using 10 times the amount of artillery rounds as Ukraine on a daily basis.
Fox's Nate Foy in Lviv. Surging inflation and the Fed's interest rate hikes have led to fears of a recession. President Biden insists that's not inevitable. He's considering temporarily lifting the federal gasoline tax, which would save us 18 cents a gallon.
Well, I hope I have a decision based on data I'm looking for by the end of the week.
Now, Congress would have to approve that. Lawmakers may not. Gas is down a penny today. AAA, America's listening to Fox News.
The economy is headed directly for a disaster. The Fed can either raise rates to lower inflation and trigger a stock and housing market crash, or it can keep rates low and potentially cause hyperinflation. That is why you must take action to protect your savings right now. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement account out of paper assets and into physical gold. The Birch Gold Group IRA is what I recommend to all my family and friends. And today, Birch Gold is giving away a free information kit about how gold IRAs work. To get your free copy, just text the word PROTECT to 989898. It's crucial for you to get this information before an economic disaster is in full swing. Again, text PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free information kit on gold. There's no obligation or purchase required, so do it now. Text PROTECT to 989898. Action, action, action. Use your agency. Take action today.
93.9, the Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners, 8603 in Robinson saves you time. It's going to be another hot one here in mid-Missouri. Heat advisory taking effect at 1 o'clock today. It'll go through 8. Our high around 97 degrees. It is already a warm day. 71 right now in Columbia. Our sunrise this morning at 5:44. It sets at 8:38 as our days continue to get longer. Good morning, everyone, and here's some of the stories we are working on for you in this 6 o'clock hour. Missouri GOP U.S. Senate candidate Eric Greitens' latest campaign ad has been taken down by Facebook.
The new video shows Greitens carrying a shotgun and declaring he's hunting rhinos, Republicans in name only. In the ad, Greitens, a former Missouri governor who resigned in 2018, is flanked by a tactical unit outside a home as he whispers, "The rhino feeds on corruption," and is marked by the stripes of cowardice, a Donald Trump line. The armed tactical team then breaks through the front door and throws what appears to be flashbang grenades inside. John Marsh, Zimmer News Network.
In other news at this hour, Boone County grand jury indicting 2 former fraternity members at Mizzou for felony hazing. This for an October incident that left Danny Santulli blind and unable to walk. The 2 are identified as Thomas Schultz of Chesterfield and Ryan Delaney of Baldwin. The grand jury indictment handed down on Friday afternoon. It was unsealed then. They've both been indicted, Class D felony of hazing. The grand jury also indicting Schultz for tampering with physical evidence. You'll recall ABC's Good Morning America aired video from the October night in Columbia earlier this month. It showed blindfolded pledges being led downstairs. St. Louis Post-Dispatch is reporting the Santulli family civil suit alleges Santulli was repeatedly ordered to clean the fraternity brothers' rooms and to bring food, alcohol, and marijuana to them at all hours of the night, quote unquote. And again, that is directly from the civil suit obtained by the Post-Dispatch. Mayors of Columbia and Jefferson City were among the large crowd that greeted 95 Central Missouri Honor Flight veterans as they returned home to Columbia last night. They returned home to a big crowd, many of you standing on the overpasses on the side of the road as well, and also in some of the businesses. Central Missouri Honor Flight Board President Mary Paulsell says the veterans saw numerous monuments in Washington, including the memorial dedicated to the Vietnam helicopter pilots in Vietnam,
who were heroes among heroes and flew in at great risk to bring the wounded and dying back to the base. So those Huey pilots like to go stand by that.
Arlington National Cemetery's website says more than 4,800 helicopter pilots and crew members were killed in action, more than 300 buried at Arlington. About 400 or so Central Missouri Honor Flight members, Honor Flight riders, I should say, escorting the bus from Kingdom City back to Columbia last night. Prairie View church members shooting fireworks as the bus drove by, and a big presence as well. I-70 towing had two big areas with American flags, one near the TGI Fridays near 70 and 63, the other by their facility right off of I-70. Columbia City Council being asked to change one word in its city code relating to sexual and domestic violence. The phrase appears in the city code 6 times. Columbia's Human Rights Commission asking the council to change references to victim of sexual and domestic violence to survivor instead of the word victim. And that issue will be taken up and discussed briefly tonight. Also, the council being asked to approve grant funding, about $700,000 to purchase passenger vans, specifically 6 cutaway vans and 2 narrow body vans. City will have to come up with $122,000 as a local match. They say they have the money. They say that the replacement vehicles will all be ADA accessible and that the existing vans have they're being replaced have met their useful life. Our news is brought to you in the 6 o'clock hour by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. For all of your cooling needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:07. In sports, Milwaukee beat the Cardinals on Monday 2-0. They move into first place in the National League Central. Corbin Burns earning the win for Milwaukee. Very impressive in this game. He continues to really dominate against St. Louis. Hader, what a closer. You'll be seeing him in the All-Star game if everything goes as planned. Hader had his 20th save last night, and he is good. Moves that ball in and out. Bad news here for the Cardinals. The Brewers are now in sole possession of first place in the National League Central Division. Royals had a big game yesterday. 3 home runs. They beat the Angels by a score of 6-2. Sports is brought to you this hour by Witt Print Shop. Your printed products are so much more than ink and paper. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:08. All right, John, great to have you back on television and radio this week. Our weather brought to you by the Callaway Bank. They're with you for the moments that matter. 71 degrees. And our traffic check is presented by MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads are quiet. Just a quick reminder, there is overnight work all this week at the Bagnell Dam. They're continuing to have issues down there even after that big project. So they got to work every night this week. Overnight, it will be closed due to additional issues that they have found with the Bagnell Dam project. So you won't be able to cross that overnight this week. It will be open during the day. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
This ad is getting a bit of attention. It's a web ad, I believe. I don't think it's on TV, from Eric Greitens, who's running in Missouri. And Josh Hawley came out on the backside of this ad and has put his support. He's endorsing Vicky Hartzler in this race. But let's take a look at it. I'm just curious because it speaks to the tenor of politics in this country right now, and I want to see what you think. Let's watch.
Fox's Martha McCallum yesterday talking about, see, we're getting some national attention again. We got some last week. We announced the World Cup is coming to the state of Missouri. And we got some more, and we got some the week before that because somebody sacrificed a dog in Moberly.
And then we got the fraternity case.
The fraternity case. That's getting us some national press coverage. And this morning, one of our U.S. Senate candidates, Eric Greitens, former governor of Missouri, he's getting us some national attention this morning. I want to ask you, Steph, when you first, and we're going to play audio of the ad, and you will get the gist of what is in the ad that's got everybody upset. Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler, who's running against Eric Greitens in the GOP primary, thus far, she has had the best response to the ad. But your reaction when you first saw it, Steph?
I was horrified. I mean, based on recent events and everything, people were texting it to me, have you seen this? And I thought, this is a bad look.
Yesterday, I was talking to Brian Hansen. Brian Hansen is the star of the Gary Nolan Show, which airs weekdays, 9 o'clock on 93.9 The Eagle. And right before he's going on with Gary Nolan, he says, have you seen this campaign ad yet? And I said, yeah, I've seen Eric Greitens' campaign ads. And he starts playing. I said, but I haven't seen that one. And as I'm watching it, I had this was kicking me in the groin in so many different ways. Number one, it's a typical Eric Greitens ad. Hauswirth, kind of your response to the ad? It was typical, not surprising.
To be clear, I have not seen the ad. I've not, because I was busy with my mom, just so I'm only getting reaction. But just from what is being described, and I've heard some of the audio, but I've not seen the ad. I'm not surprised, but I think it's very important to note he is doing this for he's looking for a base. He has a solid base, and do not underestimate him in the primary. Do not underestimate him in the general. I go out, I talk to people, and he's got support. There's no doubt. The only question is, can he win? A crowded primary benefits him, and he's getting a lot of publicity on this, and his base. Quite frankly, they're going to vote for him no matter what. But yeah, the ad is, I know Facebook's taken down. I've also read a report Twitter took it down too. I believe it was an ad, web ad, and not. Yeah,
it's not on TV. It was on Facebook till they took it down. Twitter made it so, and I don't understand Twitter, but I think they didn't take it down. But it can't be shared.
It's restricted, but it took me a minute. I watched it again. And then I looked at a coworker and I said, he's talking about hunting people. I mean, literally, that's what he's hunting other people.
No, he's talking about hunting rhinos. That's what his campaign is basically saying. His campaign manager said, listen, if anybody in his campaign manager says, if anybody doesn't get the metaphor, they are either lying or dumb. So how do you react to this dude calling you lying or dumb? By the way, and I get it. I get what I did. It's typical Greitens fashion, but here's why it was kicking me so many different ways. Number one, it's just cheesy. It really is. I mean, I'm all about, protecting. There is a constitutional right to bear arms. It's in the Constitution. I'm about it. It's just kind of cheesy. My other thing, because there was some of that shock value, like, oh, really, right now, Eric? But here was the other thing that got me. I'm like, here's the thing. If you have people that are, again, middle of the road, politically unhoused, they're independents, what have you, that's the stuff they look at and say, yep, conservatives, Republicans, that ain't for me. I believe that. They look at that and they're like, nope, that's not for me. And that's just, to me, disconcerting on a bigger level. That's the kind of stuff we don't need. As a matter of fact, and I think we're going to do this 7:35, so a little over an hour from now, campaign ads from other parts of the country that are just kind of like, It's getting so bad in Colorado and probably in other races. We know about the Aiken effect. Claire McCaskill, Todd Aiken, and the whole thing. They're taking the Aiken effect to a new level. Democrats are now buying ads on behalf of conservative candidates. They're not attack ads. They're saying, look how conservative this guy is. Democrats are paying for these ads. Look how and they're pushing all the conservative stuff in their gun issues. And psychologically, it's supposed to be working against those folks. Because, listen, we're, hanging out on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. We're all hanging out with like-minded people. We are a small fraction of what's out there. But there's also Democrats. There's undecideds. There's libertarians. We are a small fraction. So when a lot of people say, yeah, but it's great, there's guns, and he's talking about hunting rhinos and stuff like that. Rhinos, Republican in name only. This was a phrase that became, 2010, 2012, kind of in that area, and it was tagged on kind of to the Tea Party movement, as I recall.
Yeah.
And if you're new to Wake Up Columbia, rhino means Republican in name only. For example, you have a lawmaker, Murkowski, Republican Murkowski, Lisa Murkowski. She might be a good example of what one might consider a rhino because they don't toe the hard party line. That's maybe a good example.
Well, and we've heard the term a lot, in the last year in the State House as well with rhinos, and there's been a lot of people between the conservative caucus and are you conservative enough? And these folks in the middle aren't conservative enough. You're going to hear it more as, Republicans apparently, there are some Republicans, there's bipartisan support for some of these new gun measures. And I do think, I think there are people out there who are legitimately and rightfully frustrated with the way some people take different positions on issues. Our local reps were extremely frustrated about the gas tax issue, for example, saying, how can any Republican vote for a higher tax? Now, you can have differing opinions about that, but I think there are people out there that, and you could have taken the rhino thing and really done something and said, hey, look, here are all the measures, here's all the policies that we've gotten in the last year and that we are looking at getting. If we don't do something different, if we don't elect more conservatives. Now, it doesn't have the shock value, but I think that argument resonates with people. I think people are thinking, I voted for this person. They went in, they gave me, higher taxes or, restrictions on guns or whatever it might be. But there are people in mid-Missouri saying, I voted for someone and then they got in the State House. Not in mid-Missouri, but there are people who are frustrated with people with an R behind their name and the way that they voted on lots of the issues.
And also, I would add this: Senate Majority Leader Caleb Browden definitely condemned that commercial.
He's saying he contacted Missouri State Highway Patrol on Twitter. I think he's saying that.
And I think it also highlights that there is friction still between Greitens and Hawley too, no doubt about that.
And Greitens, by the way, in the polls, the last three polls that Stephanie and I have looked at continue to show Eric Greitens in a lead. And these aren't his because he's done a lot of his own polling. This is not that. These are legitimate polls for what polling is worth. Before we get into Vicky Hartzler's reaction, because I think there's an incredible reaction to this ad, and I hope you've had a chance to see it. If not, here is the audio. Do want to set this up for you a little bit. So it's Eric Greitens, and he's outside with like this tactical team outside of a house, and they're decked out in military fatigues, helmets, goggles. They're armed. They're ready to go. And then Eric Greitens comes on.
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice.
So that to me,
it's so cringy.
And that's why I say, listen, the political aspect aside, he goes into that Biden thing. Because, Eric Greitens, by the way, former Democrat. Rhinos, here's how you mark by rhinos. And then they all get bust in the house. They kick the door down. They come in, and then emerges our hero, one Mr. Eric Greitens.
Join the MAGA crew. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire until we save our country.
And you go to his website, you can actually get a rhino permit, apparently, if you donate money. So you go to the campaign website, which is ericgreitens.com. Order your rhino hunting permit today, and it's 2022 hunting permit for Greitens. I don't know how you reacted to it. Would love to hear your thoughts. 874-9390, 874-9390. This has nothing to do with whatever Eric Greitens' political abilities are. The commercial is cheesy, but you know what? If it were a normal, straight-ahead ad, and I'll say this, here's Vicky Hartzler's latest campaign ad.
There's a lot of Republicans running for the Senate. I know all of them. I've decided to support.
So it's Josh Hawley who's endorsed Vicky Hartzler, talking about this is why he's voting for Vicky Hartzler. We're not talking about that ad this morning, are we?
We are not.
As good of an ad as it is, people aren't talking about it. That ad does not have 1 million views on Twitter. Associated Press tweeted at one point, or put out at one point, that the views for Eric Greitens' campaign ad had about 1 million views. What kind of reaction are you seeing on Twitter regarding the ad?
A local attorney did point out that apparently the rhino hunting is not taking place in Colombia because a roll cart makes an appearance in the background of the ad.
Oh,
that's keeping it local, baby. It's obviously not shot in Colombia. Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler, here's what she had to say. She sent us a statement, and here's what she says. She says, quote, Eric Greitens is an abuser, a blackmailer, and less than 10 years ago, a Democrat. There is no basement too low for him to cover up his past Obama support and blindfold Missourians into believing he represents their values. And then she says, to be clear, the only rhino featured in Eric Greitens' web video is himself as a former Democrat. I know, that's pretty good, actually. All right. By the way, now there's another name we might put into the Senate race. Are they Republican, Democrat, other? We're going to find out 6:35 with Christopher Arps here on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. Getting ready for the daily D.C. rundown. What else is happening in D.C. this morning, Steph?
Are we going to get a federal gas tax holiday?
Branden, Rathert, and Wake Up Columbia. Drinking upstream from the herd. 93.9 The Eagle.
We need to equip especially rural Americans with some relief with the gas tax.
That is Representative James Clyburn saying we need to get rid of the gas tax for a while. That's getting us into today's Daily DC Rundown with Stephanie Bell.
Joe Biden said he will decide by the end of the week with rising concerns about the gas tax or gas prices. Again, it's only going to save us 18.4 cents a gallon. Now, every little bit helps, that's for sure, and especially for people, our friends who call in who are truckers, people in small businesses who are buying a lot of gas, that could help. But nationally, the prices are at over $5 a gallon. I think here this weekend
they're going down. They're
down
to like 5.01 a gallon. Oh.
It was like $4.89 when I left town late last week, and it is down 10-20 cents, maybe a little bit.
Last I saw was as low as $4.85.
Okay.
That's the last I saw.
Can you just said as low as $4.85. Can you imagine 2 years ago, like even fathoming gas would be $4.85? It's awful. So
yeah, that's sad. So I'm figuring 18 cents, even if we get an 18-cent break, couple of things. So number one, we don't contribute to the federal highway fund. And then the other thing. So for me, 20-gallon tank, what is that, $3.60? $3.60.
It's too early for math. But Biden said he'll be looking at the data, and that was one of the concerns raised by some of the people in his administration about, we do use the tax money to fund infrastructure, and because inflation is so bad, we've got some extra costs over here on the infrastructure side.
One of the things he said yesterday, and it reminds me of this, he said, we're waiting to make up my mind.
Of course he did. Well, they're not waiting to make up their mind on the January 6th committee. They will be back in session today now talking to election workers and local election officials. The highlight, the big headliner is Brad Raffensperger out of Georgia. He had that infamous phone call with Trump, so he will take the main center stage today. Also on the center stage, a bunch of primaries. We've got that primary in Alabama where Trump made an endorsement of Mo Brooks, and now he's backing Katie Britt. So we're testing the Trump endorsement once again.
All right, be looking forward to that. Also looking forward to our visit with Christopher Arps about 5 minutes from now. There is another potential player in the Missouri U.S. Senate race 2022. Who is it? Where are they? We're going to find out 5 minutes from now.
Weather brought to you by the Callaway Bank. 7 days a week, text or call the Callaway Bank's dedicated care team and get the help you need and deserve. The Callaway Bank is with you for the moments that matter.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. It's primary day in Virginia and Washington, D.C., with primary runoff elections in Georgia, and for Senate in Alabama, Fox's Evan Brown.
In Alabama, Congressman Mo Brooks, once considered a Trump ally and who insists he still is fighting a primary runoff after losing the former president's approval for saying Trump should move on from insisting the 2020 election was stolen.
Trump endorsed Katie Britt. She got more votes in the primary election last month. It's the first day of summer.
You'll have longer to enjoy the daylight today than any other day of the year. It's the summer solstice, marking the longest period of daylight and the shortest nighttime of 2022 for those in the Northern Hemisphere.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Dartmouth College in New Hampshire is removing student loans from its financial aid packages, replacing them with more scholarship grants. 6 of the 8 Ivy League schools have now removed loans from the assistance offered to students. America's listening to Fox News.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. It is 6:31 in Robinson Saves You Time. 71 is our current temperature. We're expecting a high today of around 97 degrees. There is a chance we'll see a little bit of cooler weather, if there is such a thing, on Wednesday and Thursday. Some rain will be moving through. Good morning, I'm Brian Hauswirth. Facebook has removed a campaign video from Missouri GOP Senate candidate Eric Greitens. It shows him brandishing a shotgun and saying he's hunting rhinos, Republicans in name only. Facebook says the ad violates policies that prohibit violence and incitement. GOP Senate Majority Leader Caleb Branden blasting the ad. He says, quote, "We've been in contact with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. We hope the former Governor Greitens finds the help that he needs." End of quote. That from our Senate Majority Leader Caleb Branden of Columbia. Meantime, 2 former fraternity members at Mizzou here in Columbia are under indictment this morning. Felony hazing involving an October incident that left Danny Santulli blind and unable to walk. The Boone County Grand Jury indicting Thomas Schultz of Chesterfield, Ryan Delaney of Baldwin, Class D felony, hazing, life, endangerment. Arraignment dates have not been set as of yet. 95 Missouri veterans returning home to Columbia last night. A hero's welcome after the 63rd honor flight to Washington. Most of them from the Vietnam era. They visited decorated World War II hero Audie Murphy's grave.
Well, many of these Vietnam veterans particularly had fathers who served in World War II. And everyone knew Audie Murphy. They knew him for his extraordinary military service and then, of course, his movie career.
At Central Missouri Honor Flight Board President Mary Paulsell, she describes the flights as humbling and fire in the sky this year. July 4th, Stevens Lake Park. News brought to you by Mid-America Mortgage at 633. Turning our attention now to sports, Milwaukee Brewers beat the Cardinals on Monday 2-0. Tough game. Cardinals defensively looked pretty good, pitching good, just not enough. That's a really loaded team. And the Brewers move into first place in the National League Central. Corbin Burns earns the win for Milwaukee, and Hader gets his 20th save of the year. So the Brewers now sole possession first place in the National League Central Division. Royals win their ball game. 3 home runs. They beat the Angels yesterday by a score of 6-2. Our sports is brought to you this hour by MidAmericaMortgage.us. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 634. Traffic check, MidMoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidMoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Our roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri right now. We hope that continues. Just a quick traffic reminder for those of you heading to the lake this week. Bagnell Dam is going to be closed by MoDOT contractors as well, all week at night only. They're doing a lot more work on the Bagnell Dam, but it will be open during the day, but be prepared for that. That'll take place all week starting tonight, and they'll finish that up early Friday morning, if you will. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
The radio station, 93.9 The Eagle. The show, Wake Up Columbia, with Branden Rathert, Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, and Hannah the producer, giving you news, analysis, and opinion.
Chris. Hi, I'm Becky Arps, and I am so excited that you get to experience a bit of the thoughts I hear every single day. Enjoy.
Chris Arps,
ChrisArps.com.
CHRIS.
Writes for Red State all the time.
CHRIS.
Since he's been joining. Wake Up Columbia for the past few years, now has his own radio show in St. Louis. You now see him on Newsmax TV all the time. Chris, a little under the weather this morning. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. You know, that's a direct correlation of all the things that I have been able to do lately is because of your show. You know that, don't you?
So the statements I made are factual. However, doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of, but they're factual. Since you've been here on Wake Up Columbia, you're writing for Red State, which is a great conservative publication, very intelligent, very thought-provoking. Now have your own show, radio show in St. Louis in the afternoons. You are now on Newsmax TV. All of those things have happened since you started appearing.
You're like a good luck charm.
Well, and the thing is everybody else goes off and has the good luck. I think about people that have been in, they all go off but I'm still here, and there is no other place on this planet I would rather be than on 93.9 The Eagle, hosting Wake Up Columbia, where we've been for the past 7 years. I understand you and your wife are a little under the weather this morning.
Yeah, I think we should have changed my theme today to COVID. Yes.
You got the COVID.
We got the COVID.
Nice.
My wife and I tested positive. We did the home test on Sunday. And we followed it up at the clinic on Monday and confirmed it. Very mild symptoms, Just the worst part of this is just the fatigue And just the headache, man. If I could just get rid of this headache, I'd be fine.
See, that's what I think. I've got COVID right now or Lyme disease. I pulled a tick off a couple weeks ago. So I've either got Lyme disease or COVID, but I'm not getting either one checked. Now, are you a rookie? Is this
Thanks for letting me know.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Steph, I might have COVID or Lyme disease, one of the two. I'm not sure. Are you a rookie? Is this the first time you've had it?
Yeah, this is the first time. And, you know, since this started back in 2020, you know, my wife and I have done a lot of traveling, have been around a lot of people, boarded a lot of airplanes in that 2-year period, never caught anything. So we were kind of feeling like, hey, maybe we're going to get through this whole thing and of never getting it. Well, we didn't.
You got it. Let me ask you this, and I'm
Yes, sir.
mentioning this because I was at Willett Dental Associates, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday, and this young lady comes in, and she's been working there for years. I've never met her. She says, hey, I want you to know every time you come in, you're in conscious sedation, so I don't ever come up and introduce myself. So this time I did something different than the conscious sedation, and her name, and forgive me, but she does yoga early every morning. It's Rachel or Renee or something, but she works at Willett Dental Associates, and she comes up and says, I just got to let you guys know, let Hannah, the producer, know, and Brian Hauswirth and Stephanie Bell know. She says, on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I go and do yoga, I listen to you guys all the time, love the show. Mentioned you by name. She says, I love your visits with Christopher Arps. So I thought it was really cool.
Great.
Let me ask you this, even in your, so I'm asking
That made my
you,
day. Thank you.
yeah, it's a great story. Bottom line, I haven't had COVID. Because I have superior genes.
That's probably it. You probably need to knock on wood, hit yourself in the head there.
Chris,
Hopefully you don't get it.
you missed it. I think it was last week, Hannah. Was it last week when Branden said, you know, I haven't misbooked a guest at the wrong time in a really in a really long time.
Literally 5 minutes later, we had a guest show up at the wrong time because he messed up. Good job, Rathert.
Because brain fog is a part of COVID. I hear.
It's also a part of old age.
I said it out loud. I said, look at me. I haven't misbooked a guest in a while.
I believe you said, when's the last time I did that? You got touchy. You got touchy about it.
I got triggered, man. So this gal working at Willett Dental Associates, she probably wants to, she trusts you, she trusts your opinion, wants to know the straight scoop for folks that have never had it. Is it like a cold, mild flu?
It is. You know, my wife and I are vaxxed, but we're not boosted. We didn't get the booster shots. But, yeah, it's just like a mild cold, mild flu. As you can hear, I sound a little stuffy. Had a really slight fever. I had like a 100 fever. And just headaches and fatigue is the main thing about it. But I haven't had any trouble breathing or anything like that. It's a mild flu, basically.
Well, I'm glad you're breathing. Otherwise,
me too.
You wouldn't be able to do this visit this morning.
But can you taste and smell?
You know what? My taste has been affected some. I am a person that loves Welch's grape juice. I call it nature's Kool-Aid. You know, it's so sweet and good. And when I drink it now, it tastes very watered down.
That's
interesting. Doesn't have that strong taste, yeah.
One of the more, and we're going to get on because there's some interesting things here. A story, one of our political races in Missouri making nationwide news, a potential another name to toss into the ring for our Senate race. We're going to find out which side, Republican, Dem, in between. The most fascinating story that I have heard as it relates to the taste and smell thing with the COVID is we had a lady that used to hang out here at the Zimmer Radio Group, and she loved yogurt. She was eating yogurt all the time. She got COVID and was eating yogurt, couldn't taste it. Not only couldn't taste it, to this day will not eat yogurt because the texture. She says, and I don't care what flavor I was eating, it's just this disgusting, creamy mush. Loved yogurt. Won't eat it anymore because of that odd sensation of that creamy stuff just being packed into her mouth. Didn't like it at all. So here was my reaction. Eric Greitens' ad, in case you haven't heard, he's come out with an ad. We've been highlighting some of the audio. It's Eric Greitens, And it's him, and he's out with, I don't know, some kind of tactical team. They're decked to the nines, military gear, guns, and they go and bust into the house. I'm going to play a portion of it here.
An empty house.
An empty house, by the way. All the rhinos heard. Somebody, it's like when people tip off ice. Somebody tipped off the rhinos, and the rhinos scattered from that house, and Eric didn't find any there. So here's the ad, basically is what it is. We'll set it up a little bit, but he's outside with his tactical team, and they're going to go bust in the door. Let me play a little bit of it, Chris, for folks that haven't heard it.
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice.
And I think that's my favorite part. He goes into that Joe Biden whisper term, and the rhino is spot. Like, the only thing that could make that better if he was doing an impersonation of the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. And the rhino can be identified by stripes of deceit. That's the only thing that would make it better. And then there's more. So then they all bust into the house. His team goes in front of him, and Eric Greitens, our hero, walks through the door, whips off his sunglasses.
Join the MAGA crew. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire.
And you can go, incidentally, I'm on his campaign website this morning. You can actually buy a rhino hunting permit on Eric Greitens. So here's my reaction, because I do want to know what you think. My first reaction when I first saw it, I was talking to Brian Hansen, Kerry Nolan show. He's like, see this? And I look at it, and I'm like, political stuff aside, that is a really corny-ass commercial. Just my opinion, and I get the thing with the guns. And again, you're trying to remind people of your military service. You use the MAGA phrase to, tie yourself into Trump, even though he hasn't endorsed you and all this. The other thing, I just thought it's a corny ad, but my bigger concern is I'm really big on politically unhoused independents in the middle that are saying, do I go this way, do I go that way to vote? To me, it's things like this, Eric Greitens with the R behind his name. That's not the kind of thing that will attract the voters, that will solidly lead a Republican, a conservative, whoever, that will solidly lead them to victory. It turns people off, my opinion. What's your take?
I agree 100%, Brandon. I don't think that ad is geared towards moderates or independents.
Right.
That ad is geared towards the 25 to 27% of supporters that Eric Greitens already has. He knows that probably in the coming week there's going to be some negative ads against him that could possibly bring down his ratings a little bit. So I think that ad was strictly for them, to keep them motivated to come out for him in August. I also think in these times when we're having shootings, there's my wife coughing in the side there, as we're having shootings and Supreme Court justices are being stalked and potentially assaulted and murdered, to come out with an ad like this, to me, is completely irresponsible. I also think it was very calculating, because they knew that this ad was going to get all kinds of attention. It's been flagged on Twitter. It's been banned on Facebook. And I think that's what he wants. I think he wants his opponents to come out and negatively say negative things about this ad. So guess what? He can call them all rhinos.
And the other thing, and it's a great take, Chris, I think the other thing is, here's an ad for Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler.
And I hope you will, too. I know Vicky's character, her strong moral compass, her guts.
So it's Josh Hawley who has endorsed Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler in the Senate race. But you know what? And that's a great commercial. This is why I like Vicky. We're not talking about that commercial this morning, are we?
No, we're not. We're not talking about that commercial. But I wish I had it before me. Vicky Hartzler's campaign came out with a statement yesterday regarding that ad. And, man, there were so many double entendres in that ad, talking about the basements and blindfolds and stuff, that I think it was pretty funny. Did you read it?
Let's read it verbatim so folks know what you're talking about.
We've got it. Eric Greitens is an abuser, a blackmailer, and less than 10 years ago, a Democrat. There is no basement too low for him to cover up his past Obama support and blindfold Missourians into believing he represents their values. To be clear, the only rhino featured in Eric Greitens' web video is himself. You know when you read something and you're like, ooh, someone's getting fired, and then you read something and you're like, someone deserves a raise for that one.
One person is getting fired, another person is getting promoted within the Vicky Hartzler campaign for that statement. Eric Greitens, as a former Democrat, Vicky Hartzler saying he is the only rhino in that empty room, by the way, because the rhinos
and you know,
scattered.
Branden,
Yeah.
I think this is the opening salvo. I think we're going to start seeing the negative ads now.
Could be.
I really do. We're in about the 8th inning before the election, and we need to start seeing contrast ads now. And I think Eric Greitens' Rhino ad is the opening salvo that others are going to come out now because they've got cover now to criticize him for coming out with this controversial ad.
About an hour from now, 7:35-ish or so, we're going to look at some other odd campaign ads from across the country. If you can hang out with us in your COVID-inebriated state, say you're fine enough.
It's not like I'm going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm quarantined for 5 days, so you got me.
You've got the COVID, and yet you can spin political mastery here on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle in Columbia, Missouri. Do want to ask you about, there's a new name that A. Danforth is trying to put forward to potentially throw a wrench in our 2022 U.S. Senate race. Who is that? What side of the aisle is he on? Chris Arps has that coming up about 5 minutes from now here on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. Good morning.
always certain. Sometimes right. This is Branden Rathert and Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
It really impacts safety because we're not as visible as we normally want to be. And we like to move around through our village and let people see us.
That is Chief of Police in South Zanesville, Ohio. And the reason he was featured on Fox News because, see, here's how gas prices affect everybody. And then that trickle-down effect. His station, his police station, the crews that work with him, they're having to go to more of the what they call stationary patrols. In other words, instead of driving around patrolling high crime areas, they're having to sit. You know why? Because the price of gas is too damn high. So now this affects law enforcement because they're sitting around in South Zanesville, Ohio. Christopher Arps hanging out with us. ChristopherArps.com. When you on Newsmax next?
Thursday, 5:30, 6, and 7.
All right, so we'll be looking forward to
Thank you,
that. And a couple of text messages for Chris. Ken says, good luck to Chris and his wife. Ken, we appreciate the text.
Thanks, Ken.
Stuart says, post-COVID, Pepsi tasted like it had green peppers in it. That's interesting.
Well, I drink Coke, so hopefully that won't happen.
Red peppers. So I want to ask you, so obviously a lot of attention, nationwide attention being rained down on our Senate race, and this was prior to the Eric Greitens ad. Don't know if you've seen this yet, rhino hunting. Check it out if you haven't. But a former federal prosecutor, guy's name is John F. Wood. Committee that is headed by former U.S. Senator Jack Danforth, who's talked about this thing before. He's launching a website to encourage this guy, John F. Wood, to run as an alternative choice to currently what's out there. Do you know anything about Mr. John F. Wood?
I do know that John F. Wood is a cousin of former Senator Kit Bond, and he was embroiled in a little controversy years ago, about 2005, 2006 period, when a U.S. attorney was removed by Kit Bond, and he was replaced as the U.S. attorney for the Western District of Missouri. So he's known a little bit in political circles from that era.
So I want to ask you this here in our final 2 minutes or so. If I'm looking at the latest polling numbers, Eric Greitens, 3 consecutive polls, he leads, but the other thing that has been very consistent with these, and I'm looking at the last one, the only option that had more votes than Eric Greitens was undecided. So let me ask you this. Does throwing an independent in the U.S. Senate race, does that do anything, let's say, to the GOP primary? Or not the primary, because they go to the general, but does that change voters from the conservative side? You've got more people that are undecided than are willing to vote for Eric Greitens or Vicky Hartzell or Eric Schmidt, for that matter.
Look, if John Woods gets into the race, he's just going to split the Republican vote. You're going to have those that are going to vote for Greitens, and then those that can't vote for Greitens are going to vote for Mr. Wood. I think former Senator Danforth's plan is a plan to basically help Trudy Bush Valentine become a U.S. Senator. You know, as you know, Jack Danforth is a heir to the Ralston Purina fortune, and I think his plan is to help an heir to the Bush beer fortune become a senator like he was.
All right, I like your take. Christopher Arps, recovering while in the midst of the throes of COVID. It's horrible, man. He's got a headache, and that's about it. Christopher Arps, hey, man, know that we love you, okay?
I love you guys, and thank you, everyone out there that's thinking about me and Becky and praying for us. We deeply appreciate it.
All right.
Have a great week.
All right. I hope you get better. ChristopherArps.com, and he's going to be on, you see him on Newsmax all the time. As a matter of fact, Trump was on Newsmax with Eric Bolling. Eric Bolling asked him, hey, you and DeSantis 2024, what's going on there? How Trump responded to that question, we might do that coming up here at 7:10 on Wake. And you think some cranky old 51-year-old dude gets cranky about the trails and the parks not being blown off? Now there's a new problem. It's not an issue with me, but it's another news organization.
Great.
Here in town. And I'm laughing at what it is they're complaining about. We'll do that coming up at 7:10. Good morning. I am Branden Rathert. QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics. They are here. They are in town. As a matter of fact, you cruise down I-70 like you're heading to St. Louis, just east of 63. You look off to your right. QC Kinetics. Here's their phone number. It's 573-545-5588. So, okay, QC Kinetics, Branden. What is it? If you have pain, you know somebody that has pain, you want to turn them on to this. Tell them to do their own homework and then call QC Kinetics at 573-545-5588 because this is lasting joint pain relief, lasting without surgery, without drugs, without downtime. It is spectacular. It uses regenerative treatments that encourages your own body to help heal the damaged tissue in your joints. Check it out. Explore more. No surgery, no downtime, no drugs, no steroids. QC Kinetics.
They're voting again this morning in 2 states. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. There are runoff elections in Georgia and in Alabama, where polls are just opening with the biggest race for Senate. Katie Britt against fellow Republican Congressman Mo Brooks. She got more votes in the primary, but not the 50% needed to win.
But this election day, Britt has something else, the endorsement of former President Donald Trump. Trump had originally backed Brooks for Senate, but abruptly pulled his support after Brooks told a crowd last summer to put the 2020 election behind them. Still, Brooks has continued to call himself MAGA Mo and says he is the true America First candidate.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. It's also primary day in Virginia with numerous races for Congress and districts redrawn after the 2020 census. The Democrat-led House committee that former President Trump criticizes as full of political hacks on a witch hunt holds another hearing today, probing last year's Capitol riot.
The hearing will be led by California Congressman Adam Schiff, who also serves as chair of the House Intelligence Committee. In interviews, he has said the efforts to overturn results in Arizona and Georgia will be at the center of it.
Fox's Gernal Scott. The school board in Uvalde, Texas, got an earful last night from people criticizing law enforcement response to last month's elementary school shooting that left 19 kids dead and 2 teachers. The teenage daughter of one of them told them, "My mom died protecting her students, but who was protecting my mom?"
Previously, officials said law enforcement was waiting for tactical gear before taking out the Robb Elementary School shooter. However, documents reviewed by the Austin American-Statesman indicate multiple officers were inside the school armed with rifles and a ballistic shield, but they didn't breach a classroom door and take down the gunman for nearly an hour.
Fox's Chris DeMeo. For a 7th day in a row, we're getting a bit of a break at the gas pump. Regulars down a penny. President Biden's considering a temporary lift of the federal gasoline tax to save us 18 cents a gallon, but Congress would have to approve that. America's listening to Fox News.
The economy is headed directly for a disaster. The Fed can either raise rates to lower inflation and trigger a stock and housing market crash, or it can keep rates low and potentially cause hyperinflation. That is why you must take action to protect your savings right now. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement account out of paper assets and into physical gold. The Birch Gold Group IRA is what I recommend to all my family and friends. And today, Birch Gold is giving away a free information kit about how gold IRAs work. To get your free copy, just text the word PROTECT to 989898. It's crucial for you to get this information before an economic disaster is in full swing. Again, text PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free information kit on gold. There's no obligation or purchase required, so do it now. text PROTECT to 989898. Action, action, action. Use your agency. Take action today.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners, 8703, and Robinson Saves You Time. 73 right now, partly sunny in Columbia. We're expecting a warm day today. It's going to be a high of 97 degrees. Heat advisory at 1 o'clock today will kick in through 8 o'clock tonight. We do have some rain in the forecast coming up tonight, actually coming up tomorrow and tomorrow night. More on that in a moment from meteorologist John Ross. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you in the 7 o'clock hour. Missouri's GOP U.S. Senate candidate Eric Greitens' latest campaign ad has been taken down by Facebook.
The new video shows Greitens carrying a shotgun and declaring he's hunting rhinos, Republicans in name only. In the ad, Greitens, a former Missouri governor who resigned in 2018, is flanked by a tactical unit outside a home as he whispers, "The rhino feeds on corruption," and is marked by the stripes of cowardice, a Donald Trump line. The armed tactical team then breaks through the front door and throws what appears to be flashbang grenades inside. John Marsh, Zimmer News Network.
Meantime, John, thank you. We could learn details this afternoon about possible trial dates for a Columbia man who is charged with strangling his wife in 2006 and then putting her body in a dumpster on Amelia Street near Old Highway 63. Boone County Circuit Judge Jeff Harris scheduling a hearing for 3 this afternoon in Keith Comfort's case. Judge Harris expected to ask attorneys on both sides where they are on the issue of trial readiness. Comfort is charged with second-degree murder for the death of his wife, Megan Schultz. You will recall that Columbia police found her remains back in 2019 after they searched the city's 100-acre landfill for a number of days. A Boone County grand jury indicting 2 former fraternity members at Mizzou for felony hazing. The October incident that left Danny Santulli blind and unable to walk. The 2 are from the St. Louis area. Thomas Schultz is from Chesterfield. Ryan Delaney is from Baldwin. They've been indicted on a Class D felony of hazing. The grand jury also indicting Schultz for tampering with physical evidence. ABC's Good Morning America aired video from the October night in Columbia earlier this month. It showed blindfolded pledges being led downstairs down a staircase. They had their arms on each other's backs because they could not see going downstairs. The mayors of Columbia and Jefferson City were among the large crowd that gathered last night here in Columbia to welcome the 95 Honor Flight veterans as they returned home last night from Washington after a long trip. Central Missouri Honor Flight Board President Mary Paulsell says the veterans saw numerous monuments in Washington, including a memorial that is dedicated to the Vietnam helicopter pilots
who were heroes among heroes and flew in at great risk to bring the wounded and dying back to the base. So those Huey pilots like to go stand by that.
Arlington National Cemetery's website says more than 4,800 helicopter pilots and crew members were killed in action. More than 300 are buried at Arlington. The Honor Flight bus escorted home last night from Kingdom City back to Columbia by 400 Central Missouri Honor Flight riders. Prairie View church members shooting fireworks as the bus drove by, and I-70 towing had a huge presence as well, multiple locations on I-70. Boone Electric's chief executive officer says more than 95% of the vendors on their $27 million headquarters project are from Columbia in Boone County. You can hear the full interview with Todd Coley on our website, 93.9 The Eagles, 93.9 The Eagles website. He was on with Fred Perry on the CEO Roundtable. And the city of Columbia has announced that they are working with Boone Hospital to provide parking access for those of you who are attending Fire in the Sky on July the 4th. The city is saying that the parking lots will be available, many of them at Boone Hospital, for you to use that day and evening for the fireworks event, which will be taking place at Stevens Lake Park. Our news is brought to you this morning by the folks at the Candy Factory in downtown Columbia. You can learn more at thecandyfactoryonline.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:07. In sports, Brewers beat the Cardinals on Monday 2-0. They're now in first place in the National League Central. Corbin Burns earning the win for Milwaukee. Hader gets the save as well as the Cardinals fall. This is a very important series going on, the Cardinals and the Brewers. Royals beat the Angels yesterday 6-2. Kansas City had 3 home runs in the ball game. Sports is brought to you this hour by the Callaway Bank. The Callaway Bank, they're with you for the moments that matter. 93.9 The Eagle News Time is 7:07. All right, John, thank you. And our weather brought to you this morning by the Callaway Bank. They're with you for the moments that matter. Partly sunny, 74. Traffic check, midmohires.com. Local companies are looking for local people at 708 midmohires.com. Roads are pretty quiet here in Columbia in Boone County. Got a reminder, Bagnell Dam, there'll be work going on in the overnight hours all this week at the Lake of the Ozarks by MoDOT and MoDOT contractors. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
It's an honor for them to go, but it's also a healing flight. They come back healed. And there's a lot of stories about all that.
Will tell us that it heals them. It helps them bring closure to that chapter of their lives, and they realize now that their service was important and was valued. And that's the gift of Honor Flight.
That's Mary Paulsell, and before that, Reed Hickam talking to KOMU Channel 8. They've both done a lot of work over the years for the Central Missouri Honor Flight. As a matter of fact, Mary Paulsell and her brother were the ones that kind of started this thing years ago after they saw. And the birthplace of the Honor Flight is really a cool story. It was an Ohio doctor or a dentist, and forgive me, I'm thinking of the movie Hangover, where one of the buddies in the group is a dentist, and he keeps referring to himself as a doctor, and his friends would give him crap saying, "You're not a doctor, you're a dentist." So I don't know what the guy was in Ohio, but he was a doctor or a dentist. Anyhow, one of his patients, boy, they just put up one of these new monuments, would love to go, and well, it was a challenge for him to go. This dentist said, well, I got an airplane, I can fly you there, and basically that is kind of the birthplace. And then the Paulsells brought it here last night. Hope you had a chance to attend this homecoming event, because it is incredibly moving, and it's cool to be a part of something. I always liken it to being part of a sporting event, except it's kind of more important than being at a sporting event.
Yes, it is.
And people along the interstate. You got to see some of this from a different point of view last night, Brian.
Yeah, I went home to take care of Mom over the weekend, and in driving back, I would guess the bus was probably maybe 15 minutes behind me, if at that. So I was able to see it, and just an amazing sight. I can tell you that there were people on the overpasses. They thought they'd get to Kingdom City about 9 o'clock. They were probably there about that. And I saw people on overpasses as far away as Montgomery County. Montgomery County. Now, Kingdom City is where it really picked up. You could see all the bikers and stuff, and there were people on the overpasses there, and then people pulled over. But I-70 Towing had a huge presence, not just on they got a couple locations on the interstate, but Branden, they also had one in front of TGI Fridays, a big American flag. They parked a couple of tow truck drivers right there on the road, and just literally hundreds of people. I was very impressed.
Fireworks, everything. It was amazing, and we want to help keep doing that. That's why coming up this Feel Good Friday, we present the 93.9 The Eagle Central Missouri Honor Flight Radiothon with Diamond Pet Foods. We also have people like Doolittle Trailers, Rosebud Tractor, Hemi Construction helping us out with this. Go to the website, 939theeagle.com. More info starts Friday, and we send these veterans on trips. I think this was flight number 63 we have done. You have facilitated the funding of 63 flights. Now, in recent years, basically, it's $300 per vet. Veterans don't pay for it, okay? We pay for it when we do our annual radiothon. It's a couple of years ago, plane tickets, $300 a pop. I don't know what it is today because of the Biden price hike. But the point is, we're raising money this Feel Good Friday starting at 6 in the morning. More info, including we've got details on our website on how you can get an official Central Missouri Honor Flight Radiothon T-shirt, thanks to Extreme Body and Pain. People like Stephanie, who's been personally affected by the Central Missouri Honor Flight. We're always very appreciative.
Yeah, several years ago, my dad had the opportunity to go on the honor flight, and it was quite a wonderful experience, not only for him, one of his friends went as well. And so for my mom, who got to, meet all the other family members who went along, for me, I got to be at the homecoming. Oh man, it was a really important experience for him, and something I am so glad that I got to see him do.
And if you've ever donated to the Central Missouri Honor Flight Radiothon on 93.9 and the Eagle in the past, and you haven't done the homecoming, I hope that you get the opportunity to go. I know it can be late at night for some people, but to see like, oh, my donation helped facilitate that. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful experience. Welcome into the show. Hannah, the producer, is here, too. Hannah posted something on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. This was huge, and it's not even What's Hot with Hannah today.
It's not, and I have to thank listener Colby for texting this to us yesterday at 874-9390, and it was beautiful. It's a meme about Joe Biden falling off the bike, which is like a dime a dozen right now, but it's a picture of Joe, and he's got his classic aviator sunglasses on. And he says, "Oh, come on, man. I fell off my bike because of the tires. Too much inflation."
Points there. I love that.
That was beautiful.
How about that?
Have you seen the photoshopped picture of President Trump, like, guiding Biden on the bike?
I haven't.
Robert commented it on that post I was just talking about on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page, if you want to check it out. It's... like, the original picture is a parent guiding their child learning how to ride a bike, and they just swapped out the faces for Trump and Biden.
You know, the thing I think about that, the thing we covered yesterday, listen, it's one of the worst things they could have done, put Biden on a bicycle. Hey, we got to clean up sorry about your CFO who dropped dead unexpectedly last week, trying to clean up those comments.
That was rough.
Yeah, it was bad. They put this 79-year-old dude on a bicycle, and what happens?
He falls off.
And here's what I envision, because it is Joe, and I knew the story, but I didn't see the video, but I could just envision him jumping up going, when you're a kid and you fall in a big crowd of people or do something that might hurt yourself, what's first? That didn't hurt. That didn't hurt. I just see Joe doing that. That didn't hurt. That didn't hurt.
I did see I saw the video, Brandon, and it was a little hard to see because obviously it looked like they were crossing a road. And it just from me looking at the video, it looked to me like his foot got tangled up in the pedal, and some people stopped ahead of him. He took a pretty nasty fall, though. He did have a helmet on.
He had come to a complete stop, and I think he was trying to get off the bike when his foot got stuck.
Yeah.
And then, that didn't hurt. That didn't hurt. And he was back in prime form yesterday, being asked on a beach about, hey, a lot of experts, financial experts, worried about this the very real idea of a recession. Not the best audio because he's outdoors, but...
I promise. Recession's even more likely than ever. Not the majority of them are saying it, okay? Now you sound like a Republican politician. I'm joking.
Now you're sounding like a Republican politician. Says that to a reporter. For even asking about a recession.
So is that just how you answer questions that you don't want to answer?
Yeah. Now so there's two options. Number one, you can do the Hannah 4-H option. You can say, well, my research has not uncovered the answer to your question. Or, well, you sound like a Republican or a Democrat. I had to laugh at this, and I'm wondering now, am I laughing at myself too? I have a real serious... My issue with the park system, I love the parks, use them every day. They have 3 revenue streams. People continue to go to the polls and vote for an extra revenue stream to fund the parks.
Wait, you have an issue with the park system?
No, I have an issue with the idea they get 3 funding streams, and sometimes it's, well, we didn't work because it's raining. Well, I'm out there pulling and slinging mud off a trail in the rain. That's incredible BS. But other people have bigger issues now.
But you wouldn't have a problem with their 3 funding streams if they actually if they cleaned up the parks.
I would still have an issue with it, probably. I ain't happy unless I'm unhappy.
Well, now there's an invasion of spiders, apparently, which is way worse than a little bit of mud, in my opinion.
So this is at Stevens Lake Park. Apparently some peach. This is
where like the beach is, where people were like, they said they were hanging out on their towels, and like there were kids around and stuff, and they were little bitty, like smaller spiders, but I think the official, they're wolf spiders, and usually I thought wolf spiders were big. Anyway, they're not poisonous, but apparently there was some screaming and people standing up like, I'm covered in spiders.
So, and I almost think that's a worse complaint than complaining about the poor conditions at some of the other things. We were at the park and there was nature. That's what this, there's spiders out there. Now, this was specifically in the beach area.
So mud is not a part of nature and weeds?
So mud on a paved trail on a walking path that's slippery and sloshy.
In nature.
It's your only way through is different because it affects me.
Okay.
This woman said, as I was laying down, you could see things all over you. And she kind of like stood up and was like, whoa, surprised by
It
that.
sounds like a scary movie.
That's a chick. She saw one spider. They were all over the place because that's what girls do.
Well, and the city's official report when they came, they're like, yeah, we called the pest company who came out. We saw 3 spiders. And I'm like, so this lady, I don't know that she said thousands, but she said you could see spiders on her legs and little spiders coming out of the trees off the fence behind us. And so in a swimming area, I mean, I get it that there are spiders in nature, but it's where it's not like you're hiking through the woods. You're where the beach is. It's made for swimming. It's made for little kids. And it sounds like they're trying to take care of it.
I think there was another complaint. Somebody said there was fish in the pond there at Stevens Lake. I think that's
shame on you.
It's the same scope of complaint that you make about mud and weeds.
3 revenue streams, and they should have the parks exterminated of wildlife. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not the one complaining about the parks. Other than spiders creep me out a little bit, but
so we need to go and get the spiders out of the park and the fish out of the ponds. We need to create a separate spider habitat area, like the butterflies. What about this all inclusion stuff? Butterflies, they have their own pollination zones. The bees have their own zones. Why not something specific for the spiders of Columbia?
The pest control folks specifically use the word invasion like twice in this article. And so apparently, you know, like when you get ants really bad in your kitchen, it's not that you want to get rid of all the spiders. You just don't want an invasion of spiders right where the people are going to be.
You don't want them right where you're going to be affected.
If you're having like an invasion, if you're in your house, you see a couple ants, you're like, okay, I'm okay. But if you're in your kitchen and you've got, you know, that time you have really bad ants, you're like, let's get rid of these guys. And I think that's what's happening at Stevens Lake Park.
This was a story from KOMU Channel 8, by the way. And apparently the Parks Department, I got to give it to them here, they're apparently handling this. They're on that. They ran out, and they did, apparently. Somebody from the parks, they went out and checked it out yesterday. Welcome into the show. By the way, coming up, we know gas prices are pretty high right now. That really hasn't changed, but I do want to fact check something really quick. We want to run it through the Ministry of Truth. I was talking about gas national average being $5.01 a gallon. According to AAA, the national average is $4.97 a gallon.
Oh, hey, we're under 5.
My bad.
You know, I'm really scared because here locally, gas prices haven't changed for, what, almost 2 weeks maybe?
Yeah.
A little over a week?
They came down a little bit.
Down.
Well, I'm just scared that it's going to jump up really big for the 4th of July because everybody's going to be traveling.
Yeah.
I said it out loud. I'm sorry.
Boone County, according to AAA, so if we're looking at the counties right around us, Drain is one of the cheapest at $4.70 a gallon. One of the most expensive right now, according to AAA, Montauk County at $4.89 a gallon. Boone County right at $4.83 a gallon. Coming up, we are going to be doing What's Hot with Hannah. What do you have for us today, Hannah?
Well, Stephanie's been celebrating a national holiday today, and she didn't even know it.
All right, what's the national holiday that Stephanie's been celebrating without
This is Woke Up Columbia. And not really. Just kidding. 93.9 The Eagle.
Well, I don't know that he wants to run. No, I have a good relationship with Ron. I don't know that he wants to run. I haven't seen that. You're telling me something that I have not seen. So we'll see what happens. But if he did, he did. But no, I was very responsible for him getting elected, as you know.
Donald Trump's response with Eric Bolling last night on Newsmax asking about Ron DeSantis. A lot of buzz around his name, and there has been for a while around the name Ron DeSantis and the potential for him to run in 2024. So Trump straight up asked about it. It's first time hearing of it, but I helped get him elected, and I have much respect and admiration for him. Coming up 8:10 this morning, Missouri Division of Tourism is going to be joining us. Vacations on the cheap this year. Obviously, gas being what it is. Trying to do all that we can to help you out here on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. Right now, 7:25-ish, which means it's
7:28.
time for What's Hot with Hannah.
You know, if you ever watch us on Facebook Live or on our YouTube channel, 93.9 The Eagle, you'll see Stephanie celebrating this holiday almost every day.
What's the holiday?
It's National Selfie Day.
Yay!
Stephanie is our not even just self-proclaimed selfie queen. I call her the selfie queen all the time.
And you know who gets really upset when you call Stephanie Bell the selfie queen? Jefferson City Mayor Carrie Turgeon. She's livid.
Oh.
That's not true.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start beef.
We're friends, and so I love getting a selfie with the what does she call herself? Selfie mayor?
Selfie queen, yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, Stephanie celebrates almost every day this National Selfie Day. I like to try to catch her in the act. So if Stephanie is posing, I like to, blow the camera up so it's just her in the screen. And she doesn't like it very much when I do that.
And I'll bet you a steak dinner, those pictures would probably get more views than the actual selfies.
No, seriously, there's an account online and it's called Influencers in the Wild, and it's people doing stupid things, standing in the middle of the road on edges of cliffs, but also just like being ridiculous at pools, and it's other people capturing them trying to get a photo. It's amazing.
Hey, coming up about 5 minutes from now, I'm sure you've heard about the Eric Greitens ad banned on Facebook. Incredible audio, but what about campaign ads from other races across the nation? That's coming up.
Weather brought to you by the Callaway Bank. 7 days a week, text or call the Callaway Bank's dedicated care team and get the help you need and deserve. The Callaway Bank is with you for the moments that matter.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The Supreme Court is scheduled to announce opinions this morning and then Thursday with 18 cases pending.
The most anticipated decisions on abortion, in which a leaked draft opinion last month signaled the majority of justices were in favor of giving states the right to make laws limiting abortion access. The High Court also takes up gun rights and is set to decide on whether New York can demand residents demonstrate proper cause to carry a handgun in public.
Fox's Jeff Bonasso. It's primary day in Washington, D.C. and in Virginia.
In Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, the Virginia Beach area, 4 Republicans are hoping for the chance to unseat Democratic incumbent Elaine Luria. Virginia's 8th District has 2 Democrats looking to be the party pick to challenge Republican Karina Lipsman.
Fox's Eben Brown, their primary runoffs today in Alabama and Georgia. America's listening to Fox News.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:31, partly sunny at 74 degrees here in Columbia. We're expecting a warm day today. Heat advisory will kick in at 1, sunny today's high around 97 degrees. Good morning, and here's some of the stories we are working on for you in this 7 o'clock hour. Boone Electric's massive $27 million headquarter project is taking shape near Rangeline and I-70 in Columbia. Boone Electric General Manager Todd Coley hopes to have the employees moved in by the end of November.
Things are going really well. We're looking forward to opening that up, hopefully later this year, to the public. So stay tuned for news as far as us having an open house and inviting the public in there, because we've done a lot of this with their interest in mind.
Mr. Coley tells 93.9 The Eagle CEO Roundtable that one garage is completely done. Again, near Range Line and I-70. You can hear the full interview between host Fred Perry and Coley on our website, 939theeagle.com. Facebook removing a campaign video from Missouri GOP Senate candidate Eric Greitens that shows him brandishing a shotgun, saying he is hunting rhinos. GOP Senate Majority Leader Caleb Branden making national news on Good Morning America with his blasting of the ad. He says that, quote, "We've been in contact with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. We hope that former Governor Greitens finds the help that he needs," end of quote. Two former fraternity members at Mizzou are under indictment, felony hazing. This involves the Danny Santulli October incident. In 95 Missouri veterans returning home last night, heroes welcome after the 63rd honor flight to Washington. News is brought to you in the 7 o'clock hour by WillettDentalAssociates.com. Our news time is 7:33. In sports, Milwaukee Brewers beat the Cardinals on Monday 2-0. They are now in first place in the National League Central Division. Corbin Burns earning the win for Milwaukee, and Hader gets his 20th save of the year. He's one of the top closers in the game without question, and really moves that ball in and out. So Milwaukee now in first place. Series continues tonight. Royals beat the Angels 6-2. KC had 3 home runs in their game on Monday. Sports is brought to you this hour by Atterbury Auction, Mid-Missouri's most trusted online and live auction company. They specialize in real estate and personal property auctions. Visit AtterburySells.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time is 7:34. Traffic check, MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Our roads have been pretty quiet, at least this morning here in mid-Missouri, in Columbia, Boone County for sure. Now, there will be work going on all this week in the evenings, really the overnight hours, at Bagnell Dam at the Lake of the Ozarks. MoDOT has found some more issues with that area. They just did that major renovation, but they continue to have to do some work here and there, but they said they would do that earlier this year, so be prepared for that. It will be open during the day, and they should have it cleared up by Friday afternoon if you have to head to the Lake of the Ozarks, Bagnell Dam, if you will. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Moving forward with Branden Rathert and Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
I think that so much of political advertisement, look, I've run my own political advertisements in this campaign. You're trying to grab headlines a little bit. You're trying to do something that's a little bit unorthodox.
That's J.D. Vance, the hillbilly elegy guy and Ohio Senate candidate on Fox yesterday, reacting with Fox's Martha McCallum regarding the Eric Greitens ad. Don't know if you've seen this yet or heard folks talking about it. But it's an ad that's, last I checked, 1 million views on Twitter, and Twitter made it so it's not shareable anymore. Facebook yanked it off, and we'll highlight some of the audio here too. Stephanie, what was your reaction when you first saw this campaign ad from Eric Greitens?
I mean, what did my face look like? Kind of like a big cringe, like, ooh. And then it took me a minute. I watched it a second time, and I thought, I think he's talking about hunting people. Legitimately, that's not a good look. I don't like it.
Hauswirth, have you had the opportunity to see the ad yet?
I've not seen it, but I have heard audio from it that was on the network. And again, he's obviously appealing to his base. There's no doubt about it. But I think the reaction from Caleb Branden is worth taking a look at. But he says they've been in contact with the Highway Patrol. But, Brandon, the other thing is Scott Fawn. Take a look at Scott Fawn's tweet this morning and take a look at his reaction to it, because he is saying Greitens is getting exactly what he wanted from this. In other words, and Fawn is a critic. I mean, everybody knows that. He's not obviously a fan of Governor Greitens, but more or less is saying this is exactly what he wanted, this publicity. He goes further, but we'll see what happens. But I believe Facebook and Twitter have both taken it down right now, or at least removed it.
Well, and on that front, we've talked about, Hartzler also put out an ad yesterday, and, no one this morning is really talking about that ad. But at the same time, I guess Schmidt picked up an endorsement yesterday by John Brunner, which I think would have basically been really important news had this ad in that Senate race, had this ad not been around. I mean, John Brunner is a name known in Missouri. He's got like big, is a businessman's run before, big support kind of from the right and the liberty kind of groups. And so, I think that's a pretty significant endorsement in that race that I've heard virtually nothing about.
Right.
John Brunner ran for governor 2016 against Greitens and Hanaway and the other person, Pete Kinder, who was in the race. Loved the conversations with Pete Kinder because he was lieutenant governor while Jay Nixon was governor. And the conversations here on Wake Up Columbia would always go fine. And then we learned just for kicks, for the kicks of it, we would before we'd let him go, Pete, how's your relationship with Governor Nixon? Well, that Nixon, we haven't talked in 6 years. Every time, man, they would send him over.
They didn't get along.
Over the edge.
As far as Brunner, I agree with Stephanie what you just said. I think that is a big endorsement. Two very quick points on him. Number one, he probably would have been the GOP nominee against Claire McCaskill in 2012 for the U.S. Senate.
Yes.
Had those Aiken ads not run. So there's no question about that. He's very popular with certain segments of the Republican base. But the other thing about Brunner is if you go back to 2016, and Branden, you mentioned this, that he was in that race. There was and I don't know who taped it, but it came out in the media. There was a taped phone call between Governor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It was, and Greitens and him and Greitens was like really furious with him.
Well, and
it was kind of ugly.
Yeah, that phone call was crazy. And you had talked about, him being in that Senate race before, but I think there was speculation really early on in this Senate race that John Brunner or someone like him might get in the race, and I think early on he said, no, I'm not going to get it. Right. But there were a lot of people out there, and I think he probably still has a pretty significant base of support in Missouri, of people who supported him in either one of those races. But again, that endorsement, the power of that endorsement, and the timing of, I guess, that announcement, is not getting any play with the crazy Greitens ad that went up yesterday.
With Brunner, I think gets a lot of respect kind of on all sides of the political spectrum. Obviously, he's a keen businessman. So, yeah, I think for Schmidt, that could potentially be very good when it comes to raising more money here in the state. I was trying to find the old phone calls we had from Brunner and Greitens. That was funny, but let's move forward. So here's in case you haven't seen it or heard it yet, I think the audio, and then we're going to highlight what about campaign commercials from other parts of the country that has people talking. So this is the campaign ad for Eric Greitens. If you get a chance, check it out on video. But I want to set up the scene a little bit. It's Eric Greitens. He's standing outside, and he's surrounded by some military folks. They're decked out in military fatigues, goggles, helmets, all this stuff, and they're all armed, and they're getting ready to go hunting.
Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice.
I love that part. The only thing he could have done better is maybe done like a Steve Irwin crocodile hunter impersonation there. Now Eric Greitens burst onto the scene.
Join the MAGA crew. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire until we save our country.
So Eric Greitens and these dudes dressed in camouflage, they burst into the scene, kicked the door open, but apparently the feds already told the rhinos, hey, Eric Greitens is coming for you, and the rhinos fled the scene because there wasn't anybody in the house. But there is, and there's no furniture in the house, and there's just all kinds of odd things.
When I first saw it kind of reminded me of, you remember there was like a lawyer commercial in a Super Bowl several years ago, and there was like flames in the background? That's what, you said it was like kind of cheesy, and that's what it kind of reminded me of.
But here we are, talking about it. Here's some other ads from across the country that people are talking about, and this one really got my curiosity because I'm hearing the ad, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing to it. This is an ad that's running in Colorado. It's an ad for Ron Hanks, who is a Republican. I think he's running for the House of Representatives or something. I don't know. But it's talking about his conservative credentials.
How conservative is Ron Hanks? Hanks was rated one of the most conservative members in the State House.
How conservative is Ron Hanks? So he's bragging on, hey, I got some conservative street cred, man. I've got this thing. I am the most conservative candidate in the race. Really nothing too odd about that ad, except that it's bought and paid for by Democrats and Democrat super PACs. And they are running ads promoting these people. In other words, to them, being a conservative is a really bad thing. So they're taking some of the more far extreme right dudes, more conservative folks, and saying this is the most conservative person in the race. The Dems are paying for these ads to promote the conservative street creds of people like Mr. Ron Hanks in Colorado. Kind of the Aiken effect 2.0, next level stuff.
Sure, and I still kind of wonder if we'll get some of that in our own U.S. Senate race. I guess also, I mean, it's not lost on folks that Eric Greitens is also engaged in a custody dispute right now. And local attorney Helen Wade, who's representing, Sheena Greitens, said, absolutely, she's, the whole claims of, this is a bad guy, he's done some bad things, he's violent. And someone said, hey, what about this ad? And she's like, absolutely, we're going to use this ad in the custody dispute.
And that's the other thing I wonder. That was in a conversation that Helen Wade had with our former school board president, still on the school board, not the president anymore. Very good attorney. When you have the governor's ex-wife utilizing her services to help make sure she has custody of her kids in Texas, said she would absolutely do this. And that's the other thing I wonder. All this stuff, even Joe Biden here, I'm going to include Joe Biden in on this conversation. All of these politicians and people we talk about, servants, public servants, they are all still human. And some of them, they hear the buzz, the chatter, they hear the good and the bad that surrounds them, and they'll tell you, no, I don't hear, I don't pay attention. They do. But they're human beings too. And so I wonder sometimes, because sometimes I start to feel bad. For example, we talk about regretful Biden voters that are coming in droves to Wake Up Columbia here on 93.9 The Eagle, and we try to explain these are how things work. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything like that, but all these people, regretful Biden voters, they're human beings too. Mm-hmm. Biden voters are human beings too. Politicians, public servants, they're human beings too. So you think you've got feelings, and to an extent you have a breaking point. With that, as a human being, you have a level of common sense, or you should at the very least. You have a level of common sense and intelligence. And I would think in this case, hey, with everything going on right now, besides the external stuff with the guns in America, I'm in a custody battle for my kids, and I've been accused more than once of this violence and things like this. Maybe as a human being, and maybe as a father to some young kids and somebody who's in the middle of, and I've been in a custody battle before. The only thing, what's worse than divorce? Custody battle. Yeah. It is ugly. And I would think that in that position, there is a human element of common sense or something that says you don't do that.
Well, and it goes back to a question that I actually think about a lot. And it like weighs on my mind of which came first, the chicken or the egg, are people who were already a little bit crazy.
Sorry, I'm asking Hannah if I can tell my chicken or the egg joke every time Steph brings. Why not?
Because it's a dirty joke.
No, it's not.
Are you already a little bit crazy, and that's why you pick politics? Because you're already a little bit crazy, and you've got maybe some ideas about yourself or whatever. So are those kinds of people predisposed for politics, or once you kind of get into politics, do you get the power and everything else, and it kind of makes you crazy? And so, because I think, people in politics are kind of predisposed for scandal and other things and can get kind of crazy. So I don't know. I don't know the answer. And it's something I actually do think about, because technically
you're a politician.
I'm close to and I'm like, am I crazy? Am I predisposed to being crazy?
Stop it, Hannah.
I didn't do anything. You made the face first.
This is why you need to watch on our YouTube channel. We're at 93.9 The Eagle on YouTube, or you pull us up on Facebook, put us up on your smart TV in the morning. the things that happen when Stephanie talked about her being crazy.
You made the face first.
The faces that everybody else here on the show makes, that's why you got to be watching the show. But I get what you're saying, and think about, and that, I agree, because look at the other things. Navy SEAL, you got to be a special individual to do that, and he used to be a Democrat.
Well, when Guyton, and people talk about Guyton's like when he was very young and like, you know, that he had these ambitions from like, I think high school or something, right? That he always wanted to go into politics. And I'm always really skeptical of people who their whole life, all they want to do is be a politician. I really do appreciate someone who kind of lived a regular life, was in business, and then said, you know what, I'm seeing what's going on, you know, that how the politicians are affecting my business, and now it's my turn to step up. But I'm extra skeptical whenever someone's like, yeah, that guy wanted to be in politics from day one.
So here's another ad from across the nation that's getting some buzz. Unfortunately, this one, there is kind of a visual component to it, but we'll hear a little bit of it, and you'll kind of get the gist of what's happening. This is Kentucky Democratic Senate nominee Charles Booker. So he's going to be running against Rand Paul, who enjoys incredible support, not just in Kentucky, but nationwide. So here's video from the ad from Charles Booker. And you'll hear kind of this odd sound throughout it, and that's what we want to focus on.
The pain of our past persists to this day.
So you hear that kind of sounds, I don't know, almost like a fire burning or something in the background.
The pain of our past.
It's a noose tightening around his neck.
Oh my goodness.
And you see, and I had a more visceral reaction watching that ad than the Eric Greitens ad. And it's a black guy, and through this whole that sound you hear is the noose tightening around.
Is it still up on the interwebs, or has it been taken down?
I don't know. We could GTS Charles Booker, Kentucky Democratic Senate nominee Charles Booker. That ad, by the way, Eric Greitens' campaign ad, been taken down off of Facebook. I think it's still living on Twitter, though. 1 million views last we saw on Twitter, but I think it's not shareable anymore. By the way, and then we're going to move on for this, but coming up about 5 minutes from now, the most incredible response. Listen, the ad is serving its purpose. We're talking about it. The most incredible response came from one of his opponents in the Senate race. Who was it? And what did they say? Regardless of your thoughts on Eric Greitens, I think you're going to enjoy this. When you start a new job, normally you have to wait for all those awesome benefits to kick in, but not at Hitachi Energy. They value all their employees, even the new ones, which is why pay starts at $21 to $25 an hour with a $3,000 phased signing bonus and benefits day one. Hitachi Energy not only inspires the world, you inspire them. Apply today in Jefferson City or online, HitachiEnergy.com/careers. Inspire your future, inspire the next. Hitachi Energy. Hitachi Energy is inspiring the next workforce to power the world, and it all starts with their facility, which is climate controlled for all seasons, which means it's always comfortable, and not every facility can say that. Let Hitachi inspire the next step in your career. Hitachi Energy's pay starts at $21 an hour, benefits starting day one. Apply today in Jefferson City or online at HitachiEnergy.com/careers. Inspire your future, inspire the next. Hitachi Energy.
An eye on the nation, an eagle eye on mid-Missouri. Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert. 93.9 The Eagle.
The American people they're not fooled. They trust the media now like they trust gas station sushi.
All right, you know who that is. Senator John Kennedy with a few minutes last night on Fox. People trust the media like gas station sushi. Everybody except for us. You can trust us. What we're about to tell you right now is a true story. And the story. So Eric Greitens' campaign ad, listen, it's doing exactly as intended. People are talking. Doesn't matter that it's not on Facebook anymore. Doesn't really matter that it's not on YouTube. Well, it's actually, I think it's on YouTube still.
Well, and people have pointed out it's not actually an ad. It's not running anywhere. And so for free, everyone will have seen it by the end of today, I'm pretty sure.
At least 1 million views on Twitter. Facebook, I think, has taken it down. And then it's still up on YouTube, I believe. So in that respect, that is an incredible ad. It's doing as designed. What's even more incredible than the ad, I think, and a lot of folks had a lot. Who was saying something about it? He knows it wasn't in Columbia or something.
That's an attorney, Chuck Hatfield. He's a Democrat, so he used to. I think he was Nixon's chief of staff. And he said, this ad wasn't filmed in Columbia because as he's walking down the street, you can see a roll cart in the background. And I loved that take, and that's, it was great.
See how we take these statewide stories and make them local? We were able to draw a controversial Greitens campaign ad to Columbia because of roll carts. I got to give it to Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler. I think she, by far, has had the most incredible response to all of this.
She says, Eric Greitens is an abuser, a blackmailer, and less than 10 years ago, a Democrat. There is no basement too low for him to cover up his past Obama support and blindfold Missourians into believing he represents their values. To be clear, the only rhino featured in Eric Greitens' web video is himself.
Oh,
man.
Savage.
So besides...
Nice drop.
Yeah, besides the basement and the blindfold thing, just the idea referring to how Eric used to be a Democrat, and now he's the only rhino in the room, that is simply brilliant. Good morning, I am Branden Rathert for Gaps Automotive Repair Shop. Gaps Automotive Repair Shop. Been sharing this story. So I was there Thursday. I'm going to hang out with the guys and say, I want to see how you do this AC service, because I'm not just going to say, hey, go and get the AC service. And I said, I want to see what you're doing. What's different? What makes you, in my mind, better than other automotive repair shops? And here's what it is. Two things. Number one, Gaps, they'll show me this stuff, whether it's my car, what have you, they'll show me what is wrong. But they had this as chance would have it, somebody came in and said, hey, I went, got some Freon in my AC, but the AC's still not working like it's supposed to. Within a matter of minutes, Gaps Automotive Repair Shop had this thing, and they looked at it, and they start tracing the thing, and it was one of the tubes, pipes, whatever it is, it's cars, I don't know, but it had a little kink in it. That was the issue. Didn't get caught before. That's why we call it an AC service. Gaps Automotive Repair Shop. They're in Columbia and in Boonville.
this the day? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Supreme Court still has 18 cases yet to rule on and will issue more opinions this morning. The most anticipated one involves abortion after the leaked draft opinion showed conservative justices ready to overturn the decision that legalized abortion in favor of states' rights to restrict it.
Teenage pro-abortion activists are planning to return to the steps of the Supreme Court. They're vowing to wage a disruptive resistance in the hopes of stopping the High Court from overturning Roe v. Wade.
Fox's Jackie Ibanez. Protesters have also been outside justices' homes. There are primary runoffs today in Alabama and Georgia.
Poll watchers are wondering how far former President Donald Trump's influence reaches yet again. In Georgia, former Democrat state lawmaker, now Republican Vernon Jones, is seeking a GOP congressional nomination with a Trump endorsement. He came a few points behind Mike Collins on primary day.
Fox's Evan Brown. There are also congressional primaries in Virginia. An emotional night in Uvalde, Texas. Parents speaking out at a school board meeting after last month's shooting that left 21 students and teachers dead. Many are upset at the school's police chief, whose response that day is under scrutiny.
Pete Arredondo, he failed our kids, teachers, parents, and city. And by keeping him on your staff, y'all are continuing to fail us.
A near conflict at sea between the U.S. and Iran. The Navy says 3 Iranian vessels got very close to 2 American ships in the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. One was on a high-speed collision course, but only moved away after warnings and a flare was fired. There are reports the State Department's confirmed a second American was killed in combat in Ukraine, as Russia considers the death penalty for 2 other Americans who went to Ukraine to fight.
Russian spokesman Dmitry Peskov told NBC News that the fates of the 2 Americans captured in a battle near Kharkiv, Ukraine, earlier this month will be decided by a Russian court. He says they're not likely to be protected by Geneva Conventions for prisoners of war because they weren't part of Ukraine's regular army.
That's Tanya J. Powers. America's listening to Fox News.
The economy is headed directly for a disaster. The Fed can either raise rates to lower inflation and trigger a stock and housing market crash, or it can keep rates low and potentially cause hyperinflation. That is why you must take action to protect your savings right now. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement account out of paper assets and into physical gold. The Birch Gold Group IRA is what I recommend to all my family and friends. And today, Birch Gold is giving away a free information kit about how gold IRAs work. To get your free copy, just text the word PROTECT to 989898. It's crucial for you to get this information before an economic disaster is in full swing. Again, text PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free information kit on gold. There's no obligation or purchase required, so do it now. Text PROTECT to 989898. Action, action, action. Use your agency. Take action today.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. It is 8:03 and Robinson saves you time. Partly sunny. We are warming up. 76 our current temperature here in Columbia. We're expecting a high today of around 97 degrees, and the heat advisory will kick in at 1 o'clock today. Good news is we do have some rain, we believe, on the way tomorrow, especially into tomorrow afternoon. Good morning. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you in this 8 o'clock hour. We could learn details this afternoon about possible trial dates for a Columbia man who was charged with strangling his wife in 2006 and then putting her body in a dumpster on Amelia near Old Highway 63. Boone County Circuit Judge Jeff Harris scheduling a hearing for 3 this afternoon in Keith Comfort's case. Judge Harris expected to ask attorneys on both sides where they are on trial readiness. Comfort charged with second-degree murder for the 2006 death of his wife, Megan Schultz. Columbia police, you'll recall, found her remains in 2019 after searching the city's 100-acre landfill for several days. Boone County grand jury indicting 2 former fraternity members at Mizzou for felony hazing for the October incident that left Danny Santulli blind and unable to walk. The 2 are Thomas Schultz, Chesterfield, Ryan Delaney of Baldwin. They are under indictment, the Class D felony of hazing. The grand jury also indicting Schultz for tampering with physical evidence. Now, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch has obtained the family's civil lawsuit. They're also alleging they're saying the lawsuit alleges that Santulli was, quote, repeatedly ordered to clean the fraternity brothers' rooms and to bring food, alcohol, and marijuana to them at all hours of the night, end of quote. This lawsuit also alleges he was told to clean out a dumpster, and he was had some cut glass in there, and he went in barefoot invalid. According to the lawsuit, and his feet were cut. He had to be on crutches, and he called his family crying about what was happening. That is all alleged in this civil lawsuit. Again, no arraignment date as yet has been set for either of the two who were under indictment. Missouri GOP U.S. Senate candidate Eric Greitens' latest campaign ad has been taken down by Facebook.
The new video shows Greitens carrying a shotgun and declaring he's hunting rhinos, Republicans in name only. In the ad, Greitens, a former Missouri governor who resigned in 2018, is flanked by a tactical unit outside a home as he whispers, "The rhino feeds on corruption," and is marked by the stripes of cowardice, a Donald Trump line. The armed tactical team then breaks through the front door and throws what appears to be flashbang grenades inside. John Marsh, Zimmer News Network.
John, thank you. And Boone Electric's chief executive officer says more than 95% of vendors on their $27 million headquarters project are for Columbia and Boone County. Boone Electric General Manager Todd Culley spoke on 93.9 The Eagles CEO Roundtable.
That's one way we can manifest, so to say, what our principles are, and that commitment to the community and finding ways to serve the members. This is just another way to do that, because these dollars, for the most part, are staying right here in the community. They're being recirculated.
Mr. Coley expects construction on the project to start in September. He hopes to move employees into the new building in November. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you in this 8 o'clock hour by the Callaway Bank. They have a dedicated customer care team with you for the moments that matter. Callaway Bank. 93.9 The Eagle News time is 8:06. In sports, Brewers beat the Cardinals Monday 2-0. They are now in first place in the National League Central. Burns earning the win for Milwaukee. Hader, his 20th save. That was game 1 of the series. Game 2 coming up tonight, 7:10 first pitch. We're on the air 6:15 right here on 93.9 The Eagle. Kevin Wheeler on the pregame coverage as the Cardinals will play the Brewers, and they need to win. The Cardinals need to win, especially Brewers now in front in the National League Central. Royals had 3 home runs yesterday. They beat the Angels by a score of 6-2. Sports is also brought to you this hour by the Callaway Bank. 93.9 The Eagle News time is 8:07. All right, John, thank you, and great work this morning with Megan Drakus on television. We appreciate you, and welcome back. It is partly sunny, 78 in Columbia. Traffic check, midmohires.com. It's 8:08. Local companies are looking for local people, midmohires.com. Roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. Bagnell Dam work will take place overnight all this week at the Lake of the Ozarks. If you do want to report a traffic issue, you can call or text us 573-874-9390. I'm Brian Hauswirth, the 93.9 The Eagle.
$19,000 delays and cancellations from Thursday to Sunday. The government's saying it now wants the airlines to stress test its summer schedules, to hire more customer service representatives. They're saying if the airlines don't do better, they are going to fine them. But they're going to watch until the 4th of July to see how it goes between now and then.
As some travel official talking about traveling over the weekend on airplanes. Apparently a lot of issues, a lot of cancellations, pilots complaining, hey, we're getting worked overtime. We have all kinds of issues going on right now. Now, did you fly this weekend?
I did not, but I had a family member who was at a conference, and she said a lot of people didn't make it in. And then I dropped Drew at a camp and was hearing from another mom who had family that was trying to fly and said it's just been all day delay.
And everything is just incredibly high right now. So We thought, why not bring in somebody to say, okay, we're going to have to change. My vacation plans have drastically changed this year. When I go and take my grandkids in Idaho, we're doing something way different, staying closer to home. Folks looking at other options. Wanted to bring in the Missouri Division of Tourism's Stephen Foutes. Stephen, welcome into the show. Are you getting a lot of folks bugging you saying, Stephen, you got any ideas? Like if I want a kind of a staycation in Missouri, they're asking you for ideas. What's your number one suggestion?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, certainly there's a lot of interest in Missouri. One of the great things about the Show Me State is that we border 8 other states. So we are what we would consider in the tourism industry a drive-to market. Certainly we have major and significant airports that bring a lot of visitors to us, but we know that primarily our visitors are coming in via car. Gas prices are putting a little crimp on that. We anticipate to see maybe a slight decline in some of the auto travel while gas prices are high. But we think that even though there may be a decline, say, from May to June, that the numbers compared to last year will still look pretty good. So all that to say, a lot of people know the big attractions in Missouri, of course, like the Gateway Arch and all the shows and live music scene in Branson. A lot of people, when they contact us, they're asking about things that are off the beaten path, so to speak, those hidden gems. And so we try to point them to our website, visitmo.com, and encourage them to explore and look around. There they can find things like itineraries, trip ideas, articles, you name it, different listings on businesses that'll help them plan the perfect vacation that suits their travel MO.
So what would you say, and I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking maybe I should talk to Stephen actually before we go on air and say, hey, Stephen, I know you're with the Missouri Division of Tourism, and we're trying to come up with ideas for mid-Missourians this morning for vacations in Missouri. And I was going to tell you, but just please, no St. Louis, Kansas City, or Branson. We know, and we know. So I'm glad you said that. With that in mind, what's a couple of top road destinations in Missouri, with the exception of KC, STL, and Branson?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Great question. A couple of things we point to. North of I-70 in northern Missouri, northeast and northwest Missouri, Highway 36 is a great road trip for solos, couples, or families. What you find up there is small towns all across the highway, about 250 miles of highway on Highway 36, from Hannibal on the east side to St. Joe on the west side. And so you've got the hometown of Mark Twain. You've got the place where sliced bread was invented in Chillicothe. You've got the Walt Disney Hometown Museum in Marceline. You've got the Pony Express Museum in St. Joseph. And there's a group of tourism agencies along that corridor that have banded together, and they market that area of Missouri as the Way of American Genius, as a nod to the innovations and the innovators who have ties to or, were born or grew up along that particular stretch of highway. A couple of other notable folks who are connected with that area who maybe don't get quite as much play as, Mark Twain and sliced bread and Walt Disney are A.T. Still. There's a museum dedicated to his career in Kirksville. And if you don't know who A.T. Still is, if you've ever been to an osteopathic physician, you can thank him because he basically invented that practice of medicine. And then General John Pershing, who's the highest-ranking military officer in American history, is from the small town of Laclede, Missouri. So Highway 36 is a great road trip. Then we also find that our international visitors are really interested in Route 66. Now, I know I'm going against you here a little bit, but starting in St. Louis, you can hop on original stretches of Route 66 all across Missouri and see little hidden gems, mom and pop motor courts, restaurants, great roadside attractions, running from, again, kind of south St. Louis all the way down and across Missouri through Joplin. And along the way, you'll go through places like St. Robert and Lebanon, Springfield, of course, and then again in Joplin as well. Just a lot of great places to stop and connect with, the heyday, if you will, of automobile travel on Route 66.
Yeah, and the thing I remember about Route 66, basically being a St. Louis kid, there was this crazy hotel in Crestwood, I think it was, that was right there at 66, and it was like a huge landmark. I think, and it had a lot of stories that surrounded it. I think it's since gone. By the way, I want to mention, you're talking about this 36, like St. Joseph to Hannibal or Hannibal to St. Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
You start at one of Missouri's most well-known rivers, and you travel all the way to the other one. That whole drive, even if you're not stopping, it's only a 3-hour drive, less than
absolutely.
200 miles, and that's besides the stop. Stephen Foutes, Missouri Division of Tourism, trying to help us out with some interesting road trips this year.
Brandon, thank you so much. I'm going to go back to Route 66, and I encourage people to look at the website, visitmo.com, that Stephen has mentioned here. And there's a really neat article about Route 66 here, specifically, Stephen, restaurants on it. And Barb, from what I think your staff wrote this, I'm just going to pick 3. There's several of them here. Whistler's Drive Up in Carthage. Burgers, I mean, amazing. And then you've got Joe's Diner highlighted here in Stratford. Everybody knows that is a hamburger place. And then the one of them that's mentioned, I think people will be surprised, is the Steak and Shake in Springfield on 66. It dates back to 1962. This does not look like any Steak and Shake that we see anywhere else in the state. It looks like the original one, and actually that is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Lots of places to eat on that highway, some that have dated for years, some that are new.
Absolutely. And, that's one of the great things about a road trip around Missouri. You're going to find places that are original. I've eaten at that Route 66 Steak and Shake, and it is, for lack of a better term, it is old school. I mean, yes, it is the way it was originally built. And so no matter where you are in Missouri, and we find this among our travelers, one of the top things visitors are looking for are those unique local dining experiences. Now, certainly the Steak and Shake example, that's a chain restaurant, but that particular facility offers you a unique dining experience. I mean, it's like walking back into the 1960s with the decor and everything in there. And the same kind of thing with Whistler's Drive Up. You walk up, you get a burger and a bag of chips, and you move on. So those are the kinds of experiences that people are really excited about, those unique local things that, maybe only Missouri has.
I want to kind of go to the other end of the spectrum. So we're talking about, stuff that's kind of nostalgic, but what about the new stuff? I have had friends who went to Echo Bluff State Park, which I think's fairly new. What are the other, I've lived in Missouri all my life. I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it. What are the new things that I might have missed?
Well, there's always something new, right? And thanks for the question, Stephanie. Good to hear your voice. So Echo Bluff State Park was built, I want to say it opened probably 5 or 6 years ago. And again, it's one of these places that has really drawn a lot of attention and does a great job of promoting and getting visitors there. There's a lot to do on the property. There's some, nice lodging options from the main lodge to rentable cabins. You're really close to floatable rivers and streams, hiking trails. If you're fortunate, you may catch a glimpse of the wild horses of southeast Missouri down there. But some of the other things that are new, we have just in the last 4 or 5 years, the Wonders of Wildlife Aquarium opened down in the Springfield area. That is a huge draw and has continually been rated as one of the best museums and aquariums in the country. We have there has been a major renovation and reopening at the Truman Presidential Library and Museum in Independence. About a $30 million renovation there. So if it's been a while since you've been over there, it will be a little bit of a new experience for you. I know I'm not supposed to talk about this, sorry, but, places like St. Louis, that new City Foundry, that is a multi-acre entertainment district with a lot of great shops and restaurants. The Kansas City Museum, there's the aquarium on the boardwalk in Branden. And then you might look at places that have been around a while and been tourism destinations, but look at what they've maybe added. So a place like the St. Louis Zoo, the Primate Canopy Trails, is a new area with some new interactive features for visitors to enjoy. And so that's another reason we encourage people to pick up our travel guide and go to our website, our 2022 travel guide, which is available at our 5 welcome centers across Missouri and at our Convention and Visitor Bureau partner offices across the state, has information about some of the new or recently opened attractions that people may not have seen yet. The American Tractor Museum in Perryville is another big one that people find in southeast Missouri. So you can always go to our website or pick up a copy of that guide to find out what's new.
Visit mo.com. And I love the newer aspect of some things that are in the usual suspects. KC St. Louis is at St. Louis last month for a ball game. And hanging out, even down at Union Station, I'm like, man, this is different. They got the big Ferris wheel, and the soccer stadium is coming together. That's a cool thing to look at. Maybe off topic a little bit, but I think this is incredibly important for the state of Missouri and to us here, especially in Columbia. Kansas City, we learned last week, is getting some World Cup action. It's coming to Missouri, and thank goodness we've got time to get the place cleaned up, do some housekeeping before we take all these visitors. Can you talk because we're told even here in Columbia, we are going to get some of the spillover and how many people from all over the world flying into Kansas City. But you know what? While they're in another country and they're in Missouri, probably going to go to St. Louis and see the Arch. That means they're coming down I-70. They're coming through Columbia. They're dropping money in this town. If you could, for just a minute, because I'm running out of time, the importance of World Cup coming to Missouri.
Well, I don't want to overstate it, but here's what we've been told to anticipate. That, for example, if Kansas City ends up hosting 6 World Cup matches, which is kind of what the idea is when you're a host city, think of that as having 6 Super Bowls. You're going to see a tremendous economic impact. And what we're told is that the folks who will travel for the World Cup that follow their teams, there's going to be so many of those that you talked about people simply passing through Columbia. Columbia is almost going to be an overflow location for overnight visitors. That's how many people they're expecting to come for the World Cup for that time in 2026. There's kind of a radius around around Kansas City of about 250 miles that they think will see lodging, for example, impact because of the World Cup. And so it's really going to be a huge economic driver for the Show Me State in 2026, which coincidentally is also the 100-year commemoration of the birthplace of Route 66, of the birth of Route 66. So 2026 is going to be a huge year for Missouri.
All right. Our guest, Stephen Foutes, Missouri Division of Tourism. Visit mo.com. Some great ideas. And if you miss some of these ideas for like road trips, weekend trips that will save you on vacation cost, you can go back, of course, and check out the Wake Up Columbia podcast, wherever you download your podcast from, or on the website, Wake Up Columbia on demand, anytime, all the time. Stephen, thanks for your help this morning. We should touch base again before summer ends.
Branden, Stephanie, Brian, appreciate it. Hope you all get out and enjoy the Show Me State this summer.
Amen. Coming up about 5 minutes from now, Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell, business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you. What do you got?
Another reason you might want to consider a Missouri
Everyone else takes it too seriously. Thank God you get it. This is Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert, 93.9 The Eagle.
Good morning, 8:28 time for the Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell. Business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you.
So more airlines are ending their services in various cities. We here in Columbia were particularly affected by that when United decided to walk away from COU due to, COVID/pandemic/pilot shortages. But another airline, American Airlines, is saying they're going to have to walk away from New York and Ohio airports, specifically, I think Ithaca and Toledo, due to the pilot shortage, and just saying as of starting on September 7th, we're just not going to fly there. So it affects us here in Columbia because that's now our only airline. And so if you're flying out of Dallas or flying to Chicago and hoping to get to Toledo or Ithaca on American, it's no longer going to be an option for you come September 7th. And it's just...
it's frustrating. And I'm a big proponent of flying out of Columbia. It's a little bit more, usually not that much more, but my time and the gas money and the parking, St. Louis Airport, way worth it to fly out of Columbia. But one of the things, and I know that Mike Parks, who is director of the Columbia Regional Airport, I know they've been working hard because I'm bugging them all the time. When are we getting more flights? And especially I'm looking for if we could pick up that Denver flight that we had for like 3 weeks before COVID.
Sure would be nice.
Yeah, for going out west. And I know they're trying. And I think by the end of the summer, maybe into fall, is when they expect the new airport terminal to open.
I saw a picture. Apparently 3 of the jet bridges have been attached. I think the one that was stuck in the roundabout finally made it.
All right. Coming up about 5 minutes from now, we might dip into the listener mailbag. We'll do some leftovers this morning. Still lots to come on Wake Up Columbia.
Weather brought to you by the Callaway Bank. 7 days a week, text or call the Callaway Bank's dedicated care team and get the help you need and deserve. The Callaway Bank is with you for the moments that matter.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. More evidence of police inactivity during last month's elementary school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Security camera images show police officers with rifles and shields in a hallway 58 minutes before the gunman was taken down. There were calls at a school board meeting for the city's school police chief to resign.
He failed our kids, teachers, parents, and city, and by keeping him on your staff, y'all are continuing to fail us.
19 children and 2 teachers died in the shooting. The Nobel Peace Prize medal, won by Russian journalist Dmitry Muratov, sells for more than $103 million.
Proceeds go to UNICEF to raise money for Ukrainian child refugees. Muratov was awarded the prize last October for his work at a now-closed independent Russian newspaper. Heritage Auctions not confirming the identity of the buyer, but saying the winning bid was made by proxy.
Fox's Lillian Wu. The House committee investigating the Capitol riot holds another hearing today focused on attempts to overturn state election results. America's listening to Fox News.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. It is 8:31 and Robinson saves you time. 78 degrees, partly sunny right now in Columbia. We're expecting a high today of around 97 degrees. Good morning. I'm Brian Hauswirth. 2 former fraternity members at Mizzou in Columbia are under indictment this morning, felony hazing. It involves an October incident that left Danny Santulli blind and unable to walk. A Boone County grand jury indicting Thomas Schultz of Chesterfield, Ryan Delaney of Baldwin on a Class D felony of hazing, life endangerment. The family tells ABC's Good Morning America that Danny Santulli will need care for the rest of his life due to a severe brain injury. Meantime, Boone Electric's massive $27 million headquarter project continues to take shape near Range Line and I-70 in Columbia. Boone Electric's general manager Todd Culley hopes to have the employees moved in by November.
Things are going really well. We're looking forward to opening that up, hopefully later this year, to the public. So stay tuned for news as far as us having an open house and inviting the public in there, because we've done a lot of this with their interest in mind.
You can hear the full interview between host Fred Perry and Mr. Coley on our website. It's 939theeagle.com. 95 Missouri veterans back home in Columbia after a hero's welcome last night. 63rd Honor Flight coming back to the courtyard by Marriott, Mayor Turgeon, Mayor Buffalo, Jefferson City, and Columbia. On hand, a number of dignitaries as well were there, and people lined up on overpasses and along I-70 to welcome them as well. And 4th of July event, Fire in the Sky, Stevens Lake Park on the 4th of July, fireworks at night, 9:15. News brought to you by the Callaway Bank at 8:33. In sports, the Brewers beat the Cardinals on Monday 2-0. They are now in first place in the National League Central Division. Corbin Burns earning the win for Milwaukee. Hader, his 20th save of the season, as the Cardinals just could not get anything going offensively in the game. They'll try again today. Game 2 of the series tonight. 7:10 is the first pitch. And we'll have baseball for you right here on 93.9 The Eagle. You're home for the Cardinals. 6:15 is our pregame coverage. Royals beat the Angels by a score of 6-2. Our sports is brought to you this hour by Hemi Construction. 93.9 The Eagle News Time is 8:33. Traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Our roads right now are pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, you can give us a call or a text, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
The radio station, 93.9 The Eagle. The show, Wake Up Columbia, with Branden Rathert, Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, and Hannah the producer, giving you news, analysis, and opinion.
It's an honor for them to go, but it's also a healing flight. They come back healed. And there's a lot of stories about all that.
Tell us that it heals them. It helps them bring closure to that chapter of their lives, and they realize now that their service was important and was valued. And that's the gift of Honor Flight.
Mary Paulsell, one of the founders of the Central Missouri Honor Flight program, and Reed Hickam, who's done a lot of work with all of these honor flights over the years, talking to KOMU Channel 8 after flight. Was this number 63?
63.
Flight number 63 coming back. And I was just trying to do the math, and this is important for you that's listening right now to Wake Up Columbia here on 93.9 The Eagle, because we're getting ready for our radiothon, our Central Missouri Honor Flight radiothon with Diamond Pet Foods coming up this Feel Good Friday. But I was just trying to do some math here, and typically it's about 90 veterans, not quite 100, but about 90 veterans typically that go on one of our honor flights. So if I'm doing some rough math, if we've had 63 flights and roughly 90 veterans each time, I've come up with, that's a bunch of veterans. That's a bunch.
Wow.
Look at me.
Gold star.
That's the math on that. 63 flights times 90 veterans. That equals a bunch. A bunch of veterans that have been able to do this at no cost to them. There's more info on the Central Missouri Honor Flight on our website, 939theeagle.com. But we're just sending veterans to D.C., and it's not an overnight trip. I mean, it's not a field trip. It's they go and they see their memorials. And the homecoming last night, and there's a homecoming for every flight, and it is an event starting in like Montgomery County with
Correct.
people on the overpasses, and then the escort, and then you get to the courtyard by Marriott, and the fire engines have their ladders crossed, and there's all kinds of military. I mean, it's an experience. But last night, from what I understand, last night's homecoming, wow, like fireworks, it was just. Wow.
Well, Schrock's for sure. Schrock's Callaway Maze. It's right on the border of Boone and Callaway County. That'd be off to your right coming from St. Louis. They were shooting fireworks off as the veterans came by. And then Prairie View Church, which is just that would be on the left side towards on the I guess the south side of I-70. They had a huge. There must have been 200-300 people on the lawn when I drove by, and again the bus was probably 15 minutes behind me, and again huge presence there. So yes, it was amazing, and ballpark about 400 Central Missouri Honor Flight riders, and a lot of those were not even from Missouri. They drove in from other states.
Travis Smith, one of the folks, says we've waved flags from the Millersburg overpass last night.
It's just such a neat experience. And then once they arrive, they announce each veteran's name as they exit the bus, and there's clapping and flag waving and decorations and the family members and the posters. And it's if you haven't done it, you got to do it.
And a lot of bikes, too. Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. See, and you help make this happen whenever you donate during our Central Missouri Honor Flight Radiothon with Diamond Pet Foods. I mean, you're not paying for fireworks and you're not putting gas in the Harleys that help. But the plane tickets specifically. And that's one of the reasons we do this. As a matter of fact, see what the minimum donation is to get you an official Central Missouri Honor Flight Radiothon T-shirt, thanks to Extreme Body and Paint. Other folks helping us out this year. Adam Kinzer, Service Master of Columbia. They run the phone bank for us. Atterbury Auctions, A1 Containers, Little J Fireworks, just all kinds of local folks coming together to make this happen. I wanted to share this real quick before we move on to the next thing. This happened
I get nervous when you do that.
Is nervous because we could open the mailbag. We got somebody asking about the chicken and the egg joke. Hannah for years, and it's not a dirty joke.
It is.
It's not.
That's why you want to tell it so bad. It's because you're 16 years old.
Because it's a great exercise in it's your mind. It's like the Assumption song that makes Stephanie cringe over here every time we play. You ever heard the Assumption song? It says what it leads you to believe it's going to do something. And I think the best way anybody's ever put it is Stephanie Bell. One time she says, I hate that song. I said, what is it you hate about it? And I think you said something to the effect of, I hate
what it makes me think in my mind.
Exactly. I hate what it makes me think, even though it doesn't say that, doesn't say the words. The same thing with the chicken and the egg joke, but I won't tell it. But I do want to highlight this. I love this darling lady. She's on CNN. They're talking about Juneteenth celebrations, and she's not talking about the ones. That's sad, by the way, when you come in on Monday and you're determining whether or not, okay, we had Juneteenth celebrations, some of the biggest ones in New York, Philadelphia, and there were shootings there. Do I report on that? Is that just being mean as somebody, oh, you're just race baiting? I hate that has to happen. We look at the Juneteenth celebrations that celebrate the date that the news of freedom for slaves was delivered in Texas. Here, no problems over the weekend. And I hate that happens at other celebrations. Anyhow, this woman, Opal Lee, she is one of the folks who said, you know what, we ought to celebrate this moment in our nation's history. She's one of the folks who tried to get this holiday, and she has largely succeeded. So she's chatting with Don Lemon on CNN about Juneteenth celebrations, and I got to paint the picture here, the stereotype. She is this darling little old black lady that you would imagine in the glasses and something you'd see like in an Eddie Murphy, the Clumps movie or something like that, or one of the Tyler Perry stereotypical old black woman kind of things. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what this woman, Opal Lee, is like.
And to have you be a part of this, and I thank you for doing what you have done. Thank you, Miss Opal Lee. You are a sight to behold and
so they're wrapping up the interview.
A sight to see and a wonder to behold.
Do you think this interview is over? Because I got some more stuff to tell you.
Can you? And she does. She's almost like knitting while she's talking to Don Lemon. Wait, so you think this interview is over? I love that. That's, I think, just a great sense of humor. And that's one of the reasons I can't wait till I get old to be that comfortable with myself when I can handle other people's business that way.
Letters.
We don't get any letters. Got anything that's striking your fancy on the text?
So many letters.
874-9390.
A whole bunch of letters.
Facebook messages.
I'd even read mail from a cow.
So whether it comes off of email, text, you can always text us 874-9390. 874-9390. We get some Facebook stuff too. And I want to go back to it's not even What's Hot with Hannah. We do What's Hot with Hannah every day, 7:25. Hannah posted something yesterday. This is epic. People are sharing this thing all across the country. This meme that was posted.
Yeah, so listener Colby sent it to us at 874-9390, and it's a meme of Joe Biden saying, "Oh, come on, man. Like, I fell over because the the bike tires were too inflated. Too much inflation, man.
So that's one of those things, and you might want to share it too, by the way. You can go to the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. It's something I don't think any of your friends, because there's so many people share and send stuff. We love that personally, but I know sometimes in personal circles, people are like, really? You hit me up with a text for that? This is not like that. I think you're going to love it. Anything striking your fancy in the mailbag today, Hannah?
There is a text from Jack. We just had the folks on with the Missouri Department of Tourism giving us ideas for vacations in the state. And Jack says there was no mention of Uranus by the tourism guy. And, of course, he's talking about Uranus, Missouri, where there's a pretty popular fudge factory there.
Amongst other things. But
yeah.
The other thing we didn't get to talk about was, and we've kind of made a list, I think, here on the show about all the large items that Missouri has, like the biggest goose.
Ball of yarn.
The biggest, yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch of those located in Missouri. I wonder on the website if there's like a map to try to see them all in one big swoop.
I like that. Uranus had controversy about 5 years ago, and I probably have some of the facts here wrong, but the gist is, and I think it was the same company that now owns the Columbia Daily Tribune. I might be wrong there, but anyhow, as I understand it, some dude in Uranus, he had like a little newsletter, and it was the Daily Uranus News. Now, if you've ever been, there's not much there. It's a highway stop, and they have done a very good job of promoting that. If you're along 44, you see the signs, people know it. Sometimes it used to get featured like on Johnny Carson and Jay Leno back in the old days. People would send the pictures. Look at this. It's Uranus Fudge Factory. Ha ha. And, of course, the joke that we'd been hearing in Missouri for years wasn't funny anymore. But on Johnny Carson and Jay Leno, people loved it. But this guy had like a daily newsletter that basically he was in his office. Heck, he may have even been on a typewriter typing up this newsletter, and he'd put it out every day. And then a newspaper bought it, and then it caused the town, however many people live there, do business there. It caused them there was a divide, and then people were like, where are we going to get our news from anymore? And finally somebody said, well, there's very little news that happens in Uranus, so don't worry about it. So that was one of the other big things. No, it's a true story. It really is.
I know.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. Hannah, the 16-year-old one in the room.
Yeah, that's me.
Always gets me in trouble.
What?
874-9390, 874-9390. What about, do we want to do any of the Eric Greitens reaction? It's pretty much all the same. Eric Greitens ad, do we need to share any of those? Most of the texts we've gotten are pretty consistent. No? All right. Nathan heard us earlier. We were talking about this website. So apparently what is hot with Hannah, which we do most mornings, 7:25-ish, had to do with something interesting, and it's something that we always chide our good friend over here, Stephanie, about.
Yeah, today's a national holiday, and it is National Selfie Day, and Stephanie celebrates every day.
And Stephanie turned us on to this. It's a website or a Facebook page or something.
It's an Instagram.
It's an Instagram.
Oh, you almost had it, old guy.
And it's called Influencers in the Wild. And so if you see people out there like taking selfies or photos of themselves, then you capture them doing that and then anonymously submit it to this Influencers in the Wild, and then they post it. There's a really funny one right now, and there's this girl, and she's in like a really cute outfit. She's leaned up against the building. Her poor boyfriend is like laying on the sidewalk, trying to get the right angle for the photo. And someone captured him like, oh, dude, that's sad for you.
What an Instagram husband. Brandon, do you know what an Instagram husband is?
Mr. Bell would be option A.
Mr. Bell's not trusted with the camera very much.
Oh, so an Instagram husband basically is just a husband that has been trained by his wife to take the best Instagram photos. So knows how to get all the right angles, take the best pictures. It's basically like a personal photographer.
Yeah, I'm really good. If you need a good photo, I can take a great photo of you. I love it when my sister and I travel together because, she's the more creative one. But we went to Utah, and, you could have made a coffee table book out of the photos I took of her. Every photo of me, I would not post or print. She just, it was awful. I'm like, do you look at these things? Same for Chris Bell.
Well, it got Nathan to wonder, and he texted 874-9390. Is the Influencers in the Wild site like that South Park episode about Faith Hilling.
I don't know this reference.
So there was a South Park episode, and it was called Faith Hilling, I think was the episode. But what it was doing is it was making fun of all the latest trends. We get on Instagram and we do this. We get on there and we do that. And I think at the time it may have been they were talking about, remember planking was a thing for a few minutes, and the ice bucket challenge, because everybody does it, and whether it's for a good cause or not, it's like, okay, we've seen your planking video. But it keeps following this ridiculous procession of weird things that people will post selfies about, and it ended up with Faith Hilling. Whatever, and I don't even remember what it was so asinine, and that was the point of the episode, was to show this is crazy. Hey, Nathan, good call back. 874-9390. Chris, what's up, buddy?
Hey, we're talking selfies. Ran across a website here about a week ago that I can't remember the title of it, but in there they had several versions of people who were attempting to do you know how when somebody's trying to take your picture and you're like holding your hands up, no, please don't take my picture. And they were actually taking selfies. But they got busted by the reflection in their car window or the reflection in the mirror in the room, whatever. They're posing as if I have a boyfriend or girlfriend, and I guess now we know why they don't. Trying to do this, oh, gee, don't take my picture. But, of course, they're in such a hurry to post it, they can't see it on their little phone. But when you get it up there on your PC screen, it's like, God, you're an idiot.
But you think about it. I mean, you guys give me, some, I guess, controversy over all of my selfies. But what else are you going to take a photo of? I mean, how creepy would it be if every day I just took a photo of Branden and posted it? Maybe I should start doing that. I mean,
you've got a whole website right there.
Chris, thank you for the phone call. Always good to hear you here on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com, where you can listen live. Can we share Nick's meme? Did you see the meme that Nick has just sent? 874-9390. It has to do with our conversation about a town in Missouri that we just recently had. If men are from Mars and if women are from Venus, yeah, maybe I shouldn't read that on air. Coming up, leftovers.
Download the 93.9 The Eagle app and listen to Wake Up Columbia everywhere. It's easy to do. Geez, even Branden figured it out. 93.9 The Eagle.
Now you sound like a Republican politician. I'm joking. That was a joke.
As Joe Biden yesterday saying, no, you sound like a Republican politician. And here's what happened. He's talking to a journalist who says, hey, what about this, impending recession? What about this? Nobody's talking about that. Now you sound like a Republican. Oh, I'm just kidding. And he went on to answer the question. He says, you got to remember, he says, I served as vice president, was a longtime senator. I've spent my entire life in politics. He said, I know how to run economies. He says, you don't forget. He says, just like riding a bike. You never forget how to ride a bike. All right, some of you got it.
I'm gonna defend him though. Again,
some of you got it.
He should have been smart enough not to get on a bike at his age. There are things like, even I'm not that old. Are there things you would not do at this point?
I would
really. I know a lot of people who are like,
I wouldn't do the hurdles in a track and field event
because you couldn't. But I have friends who are like, I no longer snow ski, right? Like it's just not something I think my body is capable of, and I really don't want to end up in a boot for a month, whatever. And like last time I went to the ice arena, I was like, you know what? I don't have to be out there, and I don't need a broken bone at this point, and so.
I'm pretty sure I need knee surgery, but I don't want to go to the doctor.
Because you're a man?
Because I'm a man. I'm getting ready. I'm going to see the grandkids in a few weeks, and I don't want to be there in a cast while the grandkids are waiting on me. Oh wait, maybe I would be okay. No, I don't want to do that. Coming up, we are getting ready for the Gary Nolan show. So, yeah, to the point, I think that still, who decides to do that? And I think that's it. He didn't decide to do it. He was probably told, you're going to do this because you need to look like, you're okay after that comment in front of all those CFOs when you said, sorry about your CFO who just dropped dead last week. You need to get out on a bike, Joe, and show you're like the regular people. And he got out there and showed he is just like the regular kids. Kids fall off bikes, too. Gary Nolan show is coming up just minutes from now. It's that time of the day when my dad gets excited because he, too, has figured out how to listen live on the website. He just gets onto his desktop there in his office, pulls up 93.9 The Eagle, and then on that front page, he sees a button that says Listen Live. He clicks that and then listens to the Gary Nolan show. Hope you have a great day. We'll see ya.
Bye.